Chapter 1, A Happy Marriage. Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Jon Stark. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. They were arriving at Winterfell after applying the king's justice to a deserter of the Night's Watch. The entire thing was a grim affair. Taking the life of a man was something that Jon never liked to see. He was, however, pretty happy with the pups they found in the snow and were now bringing home. Their mother had died fighting a stag, and the little pups would surely die had Artie and him not found them. His was an albino pup with thick and fluffy white fur and deep red eyes. Unlike his litter mates, he made no sound at all, which Jon found weird but endearing nevertheless. The little pup had already taken a fancy to him, just as Artie's and Bran's. Inside the castle walls, his sisters were already waiting for them, just as his mother was. They always did so. All of them had mother's gentle and bright smile destined to them, and Jon would be lying if didn't enjoy this welcoming. Boys. His mother began as they dismounted and gave the reins of the horses to Hodder and the other stable boys. What am I seeing nuzzled in your clothes? Father said we could keep them, mother. Artie quickly said, in hopes to free any charge from his shoulders. Did he now? His mother looked towards his father with a frown, and he simply looked away, ignoring her. Wolves. Dire wolves. Bran corrected. 6 of them, 1 for each of us. Really? Arya beamed at these words. A dire wolf pup for every one of us? Yes. Jon nodded in affirmation. Can I see them? Asked Lyanna, who was curious about the pups, coming forward with Arya in hopes to see them better. Sure. Her twin, Arthur said as he gave one to her hands. This is a female and the gentlest of them all, like my dear sister. She is beautiful. Lyanna proclaimed, cooing the pup with love. Thank you, Artie, and thank you to all as well. I'm in love with her already. Can I have mine too? Arya demanded and pleaded at the same time, pulling Jon's surcoat. Please. Here you go, sister, Jon said as he placed a female pup on her hands. This one is a female and a troublemaker like you. Arya lolled her tongue to him but quickly turned her attention to the pup in her hands. I will call her Nymeria. That was predictable, Artie murmured to Jon's ear, but his sister heard it all, and so she lolled her tongue towards Artie as well. My lady, Jory said as he brought forward another female pup, hesitantly of course. This one is, for Lyra, I believe. Even for Lyra? His mother asked aghast as she once more turned to father. Ned. Mother, we are all Starks, even Lyra, Jon said, trying to help his father out of this, especially because it was them who forced him to accept the pups. She deserves a pup too. Jon is right, mother. Artie joined in. We will keep an eye on both if need be, you don't need to be worried. Gods, you all, his mother sighed. I should be a sterner mother, I'm a disgrace. You are not. Arya quickly dismissed. We love you the way you are. Not changing, please. Arya is right for once, Lyanna assured. We love you so very much, right boys? Is that even a question, Lyanna? Artie dismissed. Of course we love her. They all replied without hesitation. His father was smiling with it all. Oh, I think I'm going to cry, his mother proclaimed overjoyed. I have such wonderful children. We have such wonderful children. His father corrected. And I have a wonderful husband too. And I a wonderful wife. And I parents who are going too far now. Arya plainly stated, and she got the support from most of the siblings. Jon envied his parents. They had gotten such a wonderful marriage. He wished for one like that for himself, a marriage of love, with a beautiful and kind lady, to be just as lucky as father. He then noticed his youngest sister Lyra slowly walking forward to meet Jory. She was wary of the pup, but curious nonetheless. She was the shyest of them all, even more than Jon and Bran, but she was also the youngest. She was but 3 days old still. She jumped back when the little pup tried to smell her, but soon she got back to it, patting the soft fur of the pup. It won't bite you, Lyra. Arya assured with a smile. I know, his youngest sister replied. It's okay, Lyra. Mother came forward, picking the pup from Jory and placing it in Lyra's hands. Lyra, who wasn't that tall, struggled with holding the pup. The difference in heights wasn't so great. Take your time, love, the pup will not run away and neither should you. I will, Lyra smiled, one of those smiles his father usually showed. While she patted the pup more, she seemed to be liking it, and that was a good sign. His father had disappeared quickly. He was going to clean his mind as he always did when he took a man's life. Jon had not taken the life of any man yet, but one day he would have to, when the duty of Lord Paramount of the North befell on him, or during war. His siblings somewhere to choose their puppy's name, but his mother interrupted him when he was to do the same. I need a word with you, love. Of course, mother, he quickly replied, following her to a quiet place. Is it because of the pups? They are still young, and if they grow with us they could be like hounds. It's not because of that, silly, his mother said while softly pinching his cheek. It's something else. What? The king rides to Winterfell. Really? That surprised Jon. If the lessons he took with Maester Yolen meant anything, the last king that visited the north was Jaehaerys the First. Why now? Good question. The question had earned him approval from his mother. The truth is that your namesake Lord Jon Arryn died. Jon knew how much his father loved the man. Lord Arryn had fostered Ned at the Eyrie and was like a second father to him. Father will be crushed. He will, mother agreed with a sad expression. But I will talk to him. I'm sure I can make him feel better. I'm sure you can, if the noises we hear at night are to be trusted. That earned a raised eyebrow from his mother. What are you speaking of, young man? She questioned. Mother, I meant no harm, but gods, do you scream loud when you and father make love? Jon murmured, embracing himself to receive a slap or anything, but instead, his mother simply blushed red. Please forget I said anything, mother, Jon begged. I'm speechless, his mother confessed. For how long has this been? How long have you been hearing us? Ever since I can remember, his mother's eyes bulged widely. Oh gods, this wasn't supposed to be. It's okay, mother, we are all used to it, Jon assured. Even Arya and soon Lyra too. But it cannot be, his mother countered. I must give an example here. I'm a mess. You have done so already. We all look towards you and father for examples, Jon said. The screaming part is not that important. In fact, it would seem wrong by now if there was no screaming. I'm so ashamed, Jon, his mother confessed as she hid her red face in her hands. His mother was tough woman, even the likes of Great Jon Umber and Mage Mormont thought so, but sometimes she had these expressions. Don't worry, mother. Jon smiled as he patted his mother's back. You should go tell father what happened with Lord Arryn and what is coming. I should, his mother agreed. Let me compose myself. She inhaled some air and let it out, then she made some weird gestures with her arms and hands. I'm ready. I will join my siblings at the kitchens to choose the pups' names, Jon explained. Take as much time as you wish, mother, we will be entertained for a while. Also, I told you about the king's arrival because I'm counting on your help, his mother explained. A king's visit is no small affair. Of course, mother, I will be ready to help when you ask me to. Good boy, his mother said. Come here for a kiss, love. Jon couldn't resist those kisses. He didn't know why, but his mother's kisses were like a blessing from the gods. All of the Stark children thought so. Arya and Lyanna suggested she knew how to use magic, but Bran quickly dismissed it, saying it was impossible. So everyone was determined to find the reason behind this, what could cause that reaction on them. His mother's kiss on the cheek left him with all the energy he needed for the rest of the day. Mother's love is so powerful, and I have the best one. Ashura Dani. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. Ashura knew she would find her husband in the Godswood. Her Ned always went to the Godswood when he was conflicted with something or took a man's life. She learned that very fast. House Dane had followed the old gods thousands of years ago, but they converted to the faith during the Andal invasion to avoid any more unnecessary bloodshed, but nevertheless, they kept many of the old ways still. Guest right was sacred for House Dane just as it was to any northern house, for example. Starfall had a beautiful godswood still, where a few weirwood trees still thrived. Some Danes also prayed to the old gods on a variety of occasions. Her late mother had taught her and Arthur on how to pray to them, and frankly, it was much easier to pray to them than to the Seven. When she first came to Winterfell all those years ago, when Ned's father was still alive and his siblings were still together, she who had been indifferent to religion quickly felt a strong connection to the old gods there, so when she took her sweet Ned for a husband she took his gods too, just like the Danes of old. She couldn't deny the imposing sight that was Winterfell's Godswood, 3 acres of old forest untouched for thousands of years with the castle raising around it. Its trees were strong ones, mighty oaks and ironwoods, same as those at Starfall, though here there was no animals, only silence, peace, quietness, calmness, and, of course, her favorite part, hot springs. Ashura loved water, it was in her being. Her late mother and her brothers called her a mermaid, for she had to take a swim every day, to feel her muscles stretch, the wetness around her body, and when she convinced her sweet quiet wolf into joining her morning routine, it was just perfect. Her love was beneath the heart tree as she expected him to, seated on a moss-covered stone. Ice, his beautiful and monstrous sword across his lap while he cleaned it with the help of the nearby waters that were as black as the night. The humus of the floor swallowed the sound of her feet, and so she tried a little play of her own. She got right next to him without him noticing. Ned, she called softly, prompting him to turn and place his lips right where she wished, hers, so she planted a big passionate kiss on the man she loved the most. They stayed like that for a little while. Their marriage was one of love, approved by everyone in his family and hers before everything went to chaos 15 years ago, when Ned lost so many unjustly just as she did. Ash, he said with a shy smile when they broke the kiss. Where are the children? He would always ask her that. He loved their children so much just as she did. They were the product of their love and countless nights of pleasure too, pleasure that apparently was well known in the family. I'm such a mess. They are in the kitchen arguing about the names they should give the pups. She knelt and hugged her husband from behind, planting him many kisses in the cheeks. They are all charmed by them. Lyra seemed a bit scared still, but she is only a girl of 3. She must learn to face her fears, Ash, Ned said. She will not be 3 forever, and winter is coming. And dawn arises afterward, love. Ashura dismissed. She is too young still, let her grow a few more years before she can embrace her fears properly. I suppose you are right. Ned smiled again. And how is my shining star doing? She loved it when he called her that. It depends, how is my sweet quiet wolf doing? The man died well, I will give him that. Her husband said as he ran a swatch of oiled leather up ice, polishing the metal until it gleamed. This man was the 4th one this year, right? She asked, worried, watching as he stroked the sword. Ashura knew how to use a dagger if need be. When she was younger she practiced some with swords, but it was never her thing. She tried to yield Dawn once, but it burned when she tried to swing it. She was not deemed worthy enough of such honor by the sword itself. Dawn allowed everyone to carry it, but not everyone could yield it. Now the sword remained in Starfall as her brother could no longer use it. Dawn and Ice were so different as day and night. Dawn was pale as milk glass while Ice was dark, shaped in old Valyria before the Doom took all Valyrians to the grave. Yet its name was older still, perhaps as old as Dawn. She didn't quite know though. Little Artie was trying to uncover clues on the old books of the library, but he wasn't yet able to read Old Tongue. He had been bothering her and Ned to let him go to Skagos to learn it, but they simply didn't want him to yet. The Skagasi were not too friendly with Starks, so there was always danger, and besides, he was still young. Indeed, Ned stated grimly. He was half mad. Something had put a fear in him so deep that no words could reach him. Her husband sighed next. And their numbers are dwindling by the month, like Ben says, Ashura added. Is it the wildlings? Who else? Ned lifted Ice and looked down at the cool steel of it. And it will only grow worse, he warned. The day may come when I will have no choice but to call the banners and ride north to deal with this king beyond the wall for good and all. I fear for that day, love. Ashura shuddered with the thought of it. Mance Rayder is nothing for us to fear, Ash. Ned assured with a smile. Beyond the wall, she murmured with the sheer notion of it. She had glimpsed it in the distance when she and Ned visited the wall years ago, but to actually step on it, it was an entirely different matter. How mysterious it must be. Is there something else you wish to talk about? He inquired as he slid Ice back into its sheath. The news. Ashura took her husband's hand. A raven from King's Landing came, love, she explained. Jon Arryn is dead. His beautiful eyes found hers and they got as dark as their older sons. It was taking a heavy toll on him already. John Arryn was like a second father to him, and she still had very fond memories of the kind old man too, so she grieved his death as well. "John," he murmured. "Is it true? Please tell me it's not. The letter had the king's seal. I saved it for you in case you wanted to read it yourself," she explained. "I did not wish to bother you while your conscience was still heavy." "You did well, love." Ned smiled to her, planting a kiss on her lips. "If it wasn't for you, I don't know where I would be by now." "I know," she cooed while patting his cheek once more. "The letter did have some interesting information. I believe it was Robert himself who wrote it," he said. "Lord Arryn was taken quickly. Grand Maester Pycelle was helpless, so helpless that only milk of the poppy was advisable." "A small mercy, I suppose," Ned muttered. "Indeed, but what Ashura?" Ned asked, concerned. "You know how Oberyn is a friend of mine. He knows how to use poisons and showed me some," she explained. "Some poisons make death seem natural, but the signs are still there if one takes close attention." "You think John was poisoned?" Ned asked, aghast. "It's not hard to conceive. I mean, he was the hand of the king, so," she elaborated further. "You know how I have always said King's Landing is a nest of vipers. Well, here is your proof." "Gods," Ned sighed. "He didn't deserve such dishonorable death. He was a great man." "Great men are always targeted, love, you ought to know by now." "I guess so," Ned sighed once more. "The message explained that Lysa Arryn took his son back to the Eyrie," she continued. "And had other news too. Better or worse?" "It depends on what you consider better or worse," she said. "Robert is coming to Winterfell." It took some time for Ned to comprehend her words, but when he did, she noticed his grey eyes getting brighter again. "Robert is coming here." When she nodded, a smile broke across his face. Ashura wished she could feel the same way as her Ned, but she could not. Her best friend and her children's deaths were left unanswered. She knew Ned had no part in it. She made him promise he would keep them alive, but the Lannisters had taken them before he could even lift a finger, and Robert did nothing either. She tolerated the man for he was her husband's best friend and unfortunately for her, the king, but she held no love for him anymore. "I knew you would be happier," she said. "Ben should know as well, I believe." "Yes." Ned nodded. "I know you don't like Robert." "It's okay, Ned," she assured him, not wishing to sadden him further on such a joyful moment for him. "I know how to control my feelings and impulses." "I know, but, after all these years she loved the way he cared for her. Their love should be the envy of the entire realm, but none knew about how happy their life was at Winterfell. They sort of lived on their own little world away from the vipers, and she loved it all." "We shall send the swiftest bird to Castle Black so your brother can be present," Ashura explained. "And we shall prepare ourselves in the meantime." Ned rose and pulled her to her feet, making her giggle. "I don't wish to force you anything." "Ned, you can't refuse the king, can you?" she dismissed as she kissed him. "I will be fine." "How many years has it been?" her husband asked. "And he gives us no more notice than this." "It seems so. Your friend never struck me as a person who gives it much thought if the matter is not war." "I cannot deny that," Ned smiled. "How many in his party, did the message say?" "If I'm to use the measurements of Aes Reign, then we should be looking at 300 people at the very least," she deduced. "Cersei Lannister and her children travel with him, of course, just like almost every Lannister." Ned did not like Lannisters either, who would after witnessing such horrendous crimes. She couldn't even imagine the sight that Ned had to witness back then. "They are everywhere, it seems. It does sound as if Robert is bringing half his court." "They say where the king goes, the realm follows," she japed. "Well, I'm sure the children will like some playmates," Ned smiled. "The youngest was still sucking at the Lannister's teat the last time I saw him. He should be 5 now." 7. Ashura corrected. "I believe his name is Tommen," she added. "I would tell you to mind your tongue, but I know how you act around people, so it shouldn't be much a problem. I hope you don't end up in a verbal war with the Queen for some reason. I fail to know what would happen afterward. With me arrested and dead for destroying her ego." Ashura laughed quite loudly and bitterly. "Would you like that?" "No, who would mock me then?" "Well, I could come and haunt you from my grave. Does it sound good to you?" "Not really," Ned laughed, but there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Perhaps because she spoke of graves and hauntings and deaths, it was ill done in her part. I wonder how we will feed all these people, and in such short notice. Gods, he never learns. And he will want you to be his hand, but I'm sure even you have deduced as much, my sweet quiet wolf. Notes. Some changes in the family trees. Eddard Stark o Ashur-Dane. Jon Stark, born in 283 AC, 14 years old, Jon Snow from Cannon, the heir to Winterfell and the North. Arthur Stark, born in 285 AC, 13 years old, violet eyes and black hair, twin to Lyanna, named after Sir Arthur Dane. Lyanna Stark, born in 285 AC, 13 years old, violet eyes and black hair, twin to Arthur, a copy of Ashura in looks, named after Elia Martell and Lyanna Stark because these were the most important women in both Ashura and Ned's lives respectively. Brandon Stark, born in 287 AC, 10 years old, dark blue eyes and dark brown hair, named after Brandon, Ned's brother. Arya Stark, born in 289 AC, 9 years old, like Arya in canon, Ned's choice of name, his grandmother was Arya Flint and he liked the name. Lyra Stark, born in 295 AC, 3 years old, grey eyes and black hair, Ashura's choice of name because she liked the sound of it. Their personalities will be shown throughout the story just as any other changes that are needed to understand the story. Thank you for giving this story a chance and I hope everyone has a nice day. Chapter 2, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Eddard Stark I. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. Ned couldn't hide the surprise on how Robert looked. The king had gained at least 8 stone in weight since he last saw him. A beard as coarse and black as iron wire covered his jaw to hide a newfound double chin and the sag of royal jowls, but nothing could hide his stomach or the dark circles under his eyes. A much different Robert than what he remembered. You need to come south, Robert told him. You need a taste of summer before it flees. In Highgarden there are fields of golden roses that stretch away as far as the eyes can see. The fruits are so ripe they explode in your mouth, melons, peaches. Robert the First care not for those southern fancies. Ned cut in. I have more than what I have ever dreamed here. I have a beautiful wife that loves me deeply and gave me 6 wonderful children. I have got people who love me just as I love them. I need nothing more but this and I was never meant to have any of it in the first place. Robert broke into laughter. It echoed through the entirety of the crypts. Ashur-Dane, I still can't believe you married such a beauty. I didn't believe it when I saw it at Harrenhal either, but I'm glad you ended up with such a good marriage, my friend. Your queen isn't a plain-looking woman by any chance. Ned retorted. Ashura was way more gorgeous even after 6 children, but the queen was definitely not bad. She is beautiful indeed, but she isn't Lyanna. Robert murmured bitterly. She is but a god's damned viper. I can't stand her. Robert said, his face red from the effort he was making and perhaps anger as well. Ned felt some sort of pity for the woman. How would it be if it was Lyanna in her place? Your Grace, Ned said respectfully as he swept the lantern in a wide semicircle, changing the subject of the conversation. Between the pillars, the dead sat on their stone thrones against the walls, back against the sepulchres that contain their mortal remains. They are down at the end. Robert followed him wordlessly, shivering in the subterranean chill. Their footsteps rang off the stones and echoed in the vault overhead as they walked among the dead of House Stark. Ned stopped at last and lifted the oil lantern. The crypt continued on into the darkness ahead of them. Do you have one for you already? Robert asked, confused. I. Ned nodded. It is a custom. A vile custom, I must say. Robert frowned. Perhaps. Ned agreed to some extent. He didn't like to think of it much. He loved his life with Ashura so much that he hoped to die at age of 100 or later, with her of course. Here we are. Robert nodded silently, knelt and bowed his head in respect to the 3 tombs in front of him. There stood everyone Ned had lost in the rebellion, father, Brandon, and Lyanna. She was more beautiful than that, Robert murmured in a whisper. His eyes lingered on Lyanna's face, somehow hoping he could bring her back to life. Ned had many times tried to do the same, to all 3 of them, but he always failed. Ah, damn it, Ned, did you really need to bury her in a place like this? She deserved more than darkness. She was a Stark of Winterfell, Ned dismissed. This is her place. She should be on a hill somewhere, under a fruit tree with the sun and the clouds above her and the rain to wash her clean. Robert continued. I was with her when she died, Ned reminded his friend. She wanted to come home, to rest beside Brandon and father. He could hear her still at times. Promise me, Ned. Ned could recall none of what happened, it took such a heavy toll on him. We bring her flowers when we can, he said. Lyanna was fond of flowers. The king touched her cheek, his fingers brushing across the rough stone as gently as if it was living flesh. I vowed to kill Rhaegar Targaryen for what he did to her. And you did. Ned reminded him. Only once, Robert said bitterly. In my dreams, I kill him every night, he admitted. 1,000 deaths will still be less than what he deserves. There was nothing Ned could say to that. We should return, Your Grace. Everyone should be waiting for us. Gods, Ned, I'm tired of hearing Your Grace coming from you, Robert muttered sourly, as he started walking back the way they had come, his footsteps falling heavily. I'll have your head on a spike if I hear it once more. We are more to each other than that, we are friends, we are brothers. I have not forgotten, Ned replied quietly, thinking about Elia Martell and her children, dead, of Ashura crying and slapping him so many times before he could tell what really happened. Tell me about Jon, he begged as he tried to change the subject once more, especially in his mind. How did he die? Robert shook his head. I have never seen a man sicken so quickly. We gave a tourney on my son's name day. If you had seen Jon then, you would have sworn he would live forever. A fortnight later he was dead. The sickness was like fire in his gut, it burned right through him. He paused beside a pillar, before the tomb of a long-dead Stark. I loved that old man. Perhaps Ashura's theory was true, perhaps Jon had indeed been poisoned. We both did. Ned paused for a moment. But who did it? How does his wife fare? Robert's mouth gave a bitter twist. Not well, in truth, he admitted. I think losing Jon has driven the woman mad, Ned. She has taken their son back to the Eyrie, against my wishes too. I had hoped to foster the boy with Tywin Lannister at Casterly Rock. Jon had no one ever since Elbereth and Daenerys died. Ned would sooner entrust a child to a pit of vipers than to Tywin Lannister. Ashura would agree, but he said nothing. The wife has lost the husband, Ned said carefully. Perhaps the mother feared to lose the son as well. The boy is 6 and sickly and now Lord Paramount of the Vale. Robert further clarified. Lord Tywin had never taken a ward before, Lysa ought to have been honored with it. Ned had to disagree with Robert there. The Lannisters are a great and noble house, and yet she refused to even hear of it, and then she left in the dead of night without as much as a by your leave. Cersei was furious. Robert sighed deeply. The boy is my namesake, did you know that? Ned actually remembered a letter 6 years ago explaining just that. Robert Arryn is his name. I am sworn to protect him, and how can I do that if his mother steals him away? Maybe if you tried to ward him somewhere else. Ned suggested. I could foster him here. A generous offer, my friend, Robert admitted. But it's too late now. Lord Tywin has already given his consent, and fostering the boy elsewhere would be a grievous affront to him. I have more concern for Jon's son than I do for Lannister pride. Ned declared. You don't sleep with a Lannister in your bed. Robert laughed, the sound rattling among the tombs and bouncing from the vaulted ceiling. Ah, Ned, you are still too serious. How do you pleasure your Dornish wife? I have my ways. They are, of course, a secret. A man does not tell what his wife enjoys, Ned replied. Robert broke into laughter right as Ned finished this line, and then he felt his friend's massive arm around his shoulders. I take what I said back. Maybe you are a little looser. I must congratulate your wife for that. Robert looked at the floor for a bit before he resumed the conversation. I had planned to wait a few days to speak to you, but I see there's no need for it. Come walk with me. They started back down between the pillars as the king kept his arm around Ned's shoulder. You must be wondering why I finally came north, to Winterfell. Ned has his suspicions but did not voice them. For the joy of seeing the realm's most beautiful woman and her sour husband. Robert broke into laughter yet again. I really need to congratulate that woman. You need to see the wall, to walk along its battlements and talk to those who man it. Ned changed the subject once more. The Night's Watch is a shadow of what it once was, my brother says. No doubt I will hear what your brother says soon enough. Robert cut in. The wall has stood for what, 8,000 years? It can stand for a few days more. I have more pressing concerns, he added. These are difficult times and, I need good men about me, men like John. He will not be easy to replace. His son, Ned began. His son will succeed to the Eyrie and the Vale and with it, all its incomes, Robert said brusquely. No more. That took Ned by surprise and so he stopped, startled and turned to look at Robert. The words came unbidden. The Arryns have always been wardens of the East, the title goes with the domain. Perhaps when he comes of age, the honor can be restored to him, Robert said. I have this year to think of, and the next. A 6-year-old boy is no war leader, Ned. In times of peace, the title is only an honor. Ned dismissed. Let the boy keep it, for his father's sake if not his own. Surely you owe John that much for his service. Robert did not look pleased as he took his arm from around Ned's shoulders. John's service was the duty he owed his king, he said. I am not ungrateful, Ned. You of all men ought to know that. But the son is not the father, a mere boy cannot defend the East. Then his tone softened. Enough of this, there is a more important office to discuss. Robert grasped Ned by the elbow. I have need of you, Ned. I am yours to command, your grace. These were words he had to say and so he said them, apprehensive about what might come next. Robert scarcely seemed to hear him. I need you by my side again, Ned. I want you down in King's Landing, not up here at the end of the world where you are no damned use to anybody. Robert looked off into the darkness, for a moment as melancholic as a Stark. I swear to you, sitting on the throne is 1,000 times harder than winning one. Laws are a tedious business and counting coppers is worse. And the people, there is no end to them. I sit on that damnable iron chair and listen to them complain until my mind is numb. They all want something, Robert continued his rant. Money or land or justice, and the lies they tell. The lords and ladies are no better. I am surrounded by flatterers and fools. It can drive a man to madness, Ned. Half of them don't dare tell me the truth and the other half can't find it. There are nights I wish we had lost at the Trident. No, not truly, but, you get my point, don't you? I do, Ned said softly, perfectly knowing what he was talking about, for Ashura and John had warned him long ago. Robert looked at him. I think you do, my friend, he smiled. Lord Eddard Stark, I would name you the Hand of the King. Ned dropped to one knee. The offer did not surprise him. For what other reason would Robert come so far from King's Landing? Being Hand of the King was the last thing Ned wanted. Your Grace, Ned murmured. I am not worthy of the honor. Robert groaned with good-humored impatience. If I wanted to honor you, I'd let you retire already. I am planning to make you run the realm and fight the wars while I eat and drink and wench myself into an early grave. He then slapped his gut and grinned. You know the saying about the king and his hand. Ned did know the saying. What the king dreams, the hand builds. I bedded a fish maid once who told me the lowborn have a choicer way to put it. The king eats, they say, and the hand takes the shit. He threw back his head and roared his laughter. The echoes rang through the darkness and all around them. The dead seemed to watch with cold and disapproving eyes. Finally, the laughter dwindled and stopped. Ned was still on one knee, his eyes unpraised. You helped me win this damnable throne, Ned, so now help me hold it. We were meant to rule together. If Lyanna had lived, we should have been brothers, bound by blood as well as affection. Well, it's not too late. I have a son and you have a daughter. My Joffrey for your, Lyanna, it shall join our houses, as Lyanna and I might once have done. This offer surprised him. Ashura needs to be consulted before anything can be decided. Robert laughed yet again. That woman has you in her pockets, the great and grim Eddard Stark, controlled by a Dornish woman nor less. Fine, tell her what you must, sleep on it too if it helps you. Robert reached down, clasped Ned by the hand and pulled him roughly to his feet. Just don't keep me waiting too long. I am not the most patient of men. This is my place, Robert. The North is my home, not the South. This is where I belong to, with my family. Ashura Dayne 2. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. The great hall of Winterfell was hazy with smoke and heavy with the smell of roasted meat and freshly baked bread. Its grey stone walls were draped with banners, white, gold and crimson, the direwolf, the stag, and the lion. As in any feast, a singer was playing the high harp and reciting a ballad. Ashura remembered that Ruriger always wanted to do the same in every feast he attended. He was born in grief, sang about grief, brought grief, and no doubt he died in grief. It was no good to think of such dreadful things, especially when she was still shaken from having to be escorted by Robert to her seat. He had walked like a man half in his cups even before the feast began. It was disgusting as the sweat falling through his silks. Was this what became of the mighty Robert Baratheon that killed Ruriger? The man who fought so many battles during the rebellion. He had been very handsome at Harrenhal, and now he is but a mere shadow of his former self. Her night got brighter when the children came. Jon came in grey wool trimmed with white, the stark colours. Her oldest preferred black over grey and white, but today was a special occasion, so he would have to suck it in. He had Princess Mrysella on his arm, a little Cersei in everything. Her hair was a cascade of golden curls under a jewelled net. Ashura smiled when the little princess gave the looks to her son, but she could see him tense. He didn't like too much attention from those who were not his family. He is Ned in everything after all. Then came her oldest daughters escorting the royal princes, all dressed in light grey northern gowns. Arya paired with young Tommen, whose hair was longer than hers. Lyanna drew the crown prince, Joffrey Baratheon, with grace. She also gave him the eyes, as the prince looked just as handsome as his uncle Sir Jaime, but she noticed the pouty lips and the bored and disdainful way he looked at Winterfell's great hall, the same look his mother gave. Prideful creatures these two, I will remember that. And so will Lyanna. Arthur came with Lyra at his side next. Her youngest daughter was still afraid, even when her brother held her. She supposed it was a scary sight for a timid 3 years old. Then came the other two Lannisters, Sir Jaime, now called the Kingslayer, dressed in crimson silk, the man who killed Aerys. While Ned thought of it as an atrocity, Ashura didn't think him as such a sinner. He did the right thing after all. Arthur wanted to have done the same, but it was Sir Jaime who stained his honor first. Tyrion Lannister came waddling along, half hidden by his brother. He was ugly but blameless in Ashura's eyes. She pitied him, but somehow she thought he wouldn't want pity. The last of the High Lords to enter were sweet Benjen and Theon. Benjen gave her a smile and she smiled back. Her Ned gave him his shy smile too. Theon seemed a bit lost as always. She tried her best to be a mother-like figure to him, but somehow he always seemed tense around her. After everyone was seated, toasts were made, thanks were given and returned, and then the feasting began. The cooks made their best today lest to leave the king unimpressed and disappointed, so she enjoyed the meals quite a lot. She always did anyway. She could see her sweet quiet wolf being conflicted with something, for every time she tried to make him laugh he simply smiled weakly, a contrast to Robert's many bursts of laughter. Something happened in the crypts and she would find out what. Ashura enjoyed it all, the conversations with her children, her brother-in-law, to some extent Robert's japes. He was funny and she had to give him that. The Queen, however, seemed to love faking smiles, for she was always doing them. She had to thank her though, because the guests began retreating as soon as the Queen was excused. Silently, Ashura ordered for all the female servants to call it a day. She did not wish to have one of them abed with the king and make a scandal in her home. This made the king look uncomfortable to the point he retired as well. Interesting. The children left next and finally, it was her and Ned's turn. Time to know what happened. She grabbed his hand when they left the great hall and made them increase their pace to their room. Once there, she opened the door and quickly closed it once they were inside. Now she was free to be Ashura Dayne Stark once more. She could take away her mask as Lady of the North and do as she pleased. Ned was thrown by her to their bed while she unlaced her dress as quickly as she could. Once naked, she jumped onto her husband and pressed her lips against his as she helped him undress in the meantime. Once done, she kissed all over his body until she mouthed his cock and gave him pleasure. Ned was simply in the 7 heavens with the treatment he was receiving. Once his shaft was hard, she pressed her cunt down on it and began riding him fiercely. She knew this was the position that he had the most difficulty holding himself in, but at that moment, she wanted to relieve the stress from both of them. Staying true to her fame, she began moaning loudly with the pleasure their coupling was giving. It took some 5 minutes of intense sex before she felt his seed in her loins. Maybe she could give little Lyra a sibling closer to her age next. Maybe it could help her be a bit more extroverted. Ashura climbed down from her panting husband, crossed the room, pulled back the heavy tapestries and opened the narrow windows one by one to let the night air into the chamber. This was just round 1. The wind swirled around her as she stood facing one of the windows. She liked to do this when she made love because Winterfell was so hot, especially in summer. She also liked to contemplate the view it provided. Then she felt Ned's big and kind arms wrap her into a big hug and his rough lips patting her cheeks with many kisses. "Feeling a little better, love?" she questioned, enjoying his holding. "Much better already," Ned whispered in her ear. "But not fully well," she murmured and felt him sigh next to her ear. "What happened in the crypts?" "Robert wants me to be his hand," he explained, and she had expected this. "I knew that it was the reason he came here for, but still." "And what do you want to do?" she inquired. "I don't want to go, but he needs me," Ned sighed once more. "I simply don't know what to do." "You know you will have to face the Vipers if you accept, don't you?" "I know," he sighed. She didn't like this one bit. Ned wanted to refuse, but he was way too kind with his friend. Friendship is a powerful thing, especially when it involves a best friend. I have lost mine, but Ned lost his father, brother, sister, foster father. "Maybe we can achieve a compromise with him," she suggested. "What sort of compromise?" he asked curiously. "You become Hand of the King for a year, see what troubles the realm, see what you can do to fix it, and find yourself a proper replacement in the meantime, a man of both your trust and Robert's. Then when your term is done, you return home." "It sounds simple but hard to implement," Ned said. "Robert will not like it." "If Robert doesn't like it, it's his problem, let him find someone else for the job," she said bitterly. "This is more than enough, in my opinion. He deserves nothing more if he refuses it." "You don't wish to ride south anyway?" "I don't," Ned admitted. "You know what happened when my father answered the king's summoning, he never returned." "That is why I'm going to you," she said. "To make sure you don't die, my love. I know the capital, I lived almost 3 years there. There is different people now, a different king, a different queen. But the intrigue is always the same, Ned," she dismissed. "The Vipers are always there, their faces are different but it's the same." "And Jon rules Winterfell in our absence?" he inquired. "With Maester Yolan's help, of course. Maybe Artie and Theon will give him a hand too," she nodded. "He will rule Winterfell one day, might as well allow him to get some experience at it before the time comes. So he doesn't end like you did, lost. I would prefer for him to have your counsel, but I do believe I will need you too," Ned murmured. "Also, Robert wanted Lyanna to be betrothed to his son." "That is not going to happen," she quickly hissed while turning around. Her breasts were so close to his chest that her nipples touched it. "I hope you didn't accept it, Ned." "I told him I need a word with you first," he explained. "I didn't accept." "That will do for now," she sighed in relief. "I want to know if the Crown Prince is proper material for our girl. Somehow I doubt he is, though." "I doubt it either," Ned admitted as he began eyeing her breasts. "He seems a Lannister through and through." "That's what I fear, love. I don't want our daughter with a Tywin Lannister. Nothing came from it and will come if we stop it," Ned assured her while kissing her. "Lyra ought to come with us. She is too young still to be away from me or you," Ashura said as she made way to bed. "Maybe the children can come for a while too. They can get a proper glance of King's Landing and how the world is outside these walls." "Are you sure?" Ned asked as he stood still by the window. "They need to learn before it's too late," she admitted. "I told them the world is not a song, but they are still naive and it's better that they learn with some help rather than alone." "It's true, it would only make them stronger," Ned nodded in approval. "If we feel threatened though, we evacuated them," she said. "I will not take any risks." "Of course," Ned agreed. "Surely we can ask Lord Marndaly to provide us with a ship for the duration of this if Robert accepts." "I like that idea, a private ship, ready for us to use if need be," Ashura nodded. "That makes me feel safer." "We will see how it goes with Robert," Ned murmured. "I certainly do not look forward to it." "Now love," she purred from the bed, showing her naked body to him. "Forget Robert and join me for some playtime and, round 2, the night is young still." "You are ruthless," he murmured as he came by her side and kissed her on the lips. "Didn't we know that already?" she said smirking. "Oh, my poor sweet quiet wolf, come here, I'm going to make you howl now." Notes. So yes, the first part of the chapter is still very close to canon, but I will try to make them more unique as it goes. I said it in a comment and I will say here that I have no pairs for the Stark children, just some vague ideas. I don't wish to get too nitpicked with them this early. Thank you for sparing time reading and I hope everyone has a nice day. Chapter 3, The Apprentice. Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Ashura Dane 3. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. Ashura opened her eyes as soon as she began feeling the sunlight touch her sleeping face. She was tired. The Northerners always woke up very early and yesterday she went to sleep very late and she had plenty of sex with Ned to top it off. The price she paid for hours of pleasure was fewer hours of sleep. She noticed her sweet quiet wolf already finishing getting dressed. As always, no matter what she did, Ned would wake before her. "You are not joining my morning bath, love?" she asked. Ned smiled a weak smile. "Water calms your spirit but not mine," he said. "I would much prefer to spend some time in the Godswood before we talk to Robert." She made a puppy face to see if it would change his mind but, it seems it wouldn't happen. "Then I hope you calm yourself by the heart tree, I don't want you worried and stressed. Oh, and I hope you don't get late for breakfast." "Don't worry, Robert was never a morning person, I'm sure I will have plenty of time, but I will make sure I'm there before the guests arrive," her husband assured. "I will be waiting patiently," she teased. "I know you will," he smiled as he left the room to go to his favorite place in Winterfell. A little bit later came the person she was patiently waiting for. "Milady," the person said as she entered the room. She had red hair and grayish-blue eyes. Her name was Ros. "Is it the usual?" "Indeed, you know that I can't start my days without a bath," Ashura said, and the young woman smiled brightly. Ros was a peculiar finding that she happened to come across. It happened last winter, more than a decade ago, when she went to inspect Wintertown, to see if the lack of provisions that happened during the first year of Robert's rebellion would not happen again. At the town's brothel, she found a girl of 7 working as a servant there, doing all sorts of chores except those expected in a brothel, for she was too young. What surprised Ashura the most about the girl was the fact that she had learned to read, write and count by herself at such tender age. She decided to ask some of the whores about the girl, and so she learned her name, age, and that her mother had been a whore who died giving birth to her. Eli was the whore's name, a favorite of many customers. Impressed by the girl's wits and sympathy, Ashura decided to take her to Winterfell, where she trained her to be a lady-in-waiting, a much better life than what a girl could expect in the brothel, especially after flowering. The young pretty girl grew up to be a gorgeous and cunning woman, fiercely loyal to Ashura and a companion to both her and her daughters, who loved her deeply and saw her as a big sister, especially Arya. They always had fun talking to her. "I will prepare it with all the haste possible," Ros proclaimed as she moved to fill the bathtub with water. "Lord Eddard was not inclined on joining you today, milady." "No, he is troubled, I'm afraid," Ashura explained. "Why so?" "We ought to have some words with the king today," Ashura began. "He offered Ned the position of Hand of the King, but Ned, of course, doesn't wish to go. But the king is Lord Eddard's best friend, so he does not wish to leave him alone like this," Ros finished. "Precisely, so I tried to find a compromise with it. Ned will be Hand for a year, we will find a proper replacement and return to where we belong," here Ashura explained. "He is nervous because he has to tell this to the king and Robert has a temper." "Milady," said we, "so I must assume Milady is joining him?" Ros asked as she motioned Ashura that her bath was ready. "We does mean you as well," Ashura said as she dived under the warm water for a while, then she emerged to catch her breath again, rinsing her face before looking back to the surprised Northerner. "I would appreciate a friend to talk to. I don't think I will have many friends in the capital." Ros seemed happy with it. "At least someone is." "Really? Milady wishes for me to go?" "Yes, Ros, I need someone else I can trust my children with, someone competent." Ashura smiled. "Could you be a dear and help me wash my hair?" "Certainly, milady." Ros picked the Dornish and Lysani fragrances and began to gently wash Ashura's hair. "Even with everything milady told me about the capital, I must confess I'm rather excited to pay it a visit." "The capital does have that effect on people," Ashura proclaimed. "I still remember the anticipation I had when I was traveling there, with Elia and my friends." Thinking of her deceased friend quickly brought tears to Ashura's eyes. She didn't deserve it. Elia was a wonderful person just as her children. Milady, please don't cry, the gods are just, they will bring justice for Princess Elia and her children, I'm sure of it. Roz said worriedly. Please don't cry. The gods are not just, Roz, because if they were, Elia and her children would not be dead now, she dismissed. We still need something to pray to, I'm afraid. I was just trying to cheer Milady up, Roz said. I hate to see Milady like this. I know, love. Ashura smiled as she patted the girl's arm. I also wanted to ask you if any of the servants were molested during the feast yesterday. The king seemed to have a huge appetite. He was watering over my breasts so many times when I served at the table, Roz confessed. And some other servants as well. Roz had a very graceful figure and ample breasts, it was no wonder Robert watered upon seeing them. He always seemed to have big appetites. When I first met him he was trying his best to contain himself for Lioness Sake, but once she died, it seems he went downhill. Ashura said. At Harrenhal he was very handsome, but now he is huge and imposing still. I wish I could have seen him in his prime, the demon of the trident. A shame really he got to this state, Ashura admitted. But honestly I still prefer my sweet quiet wolf. In my humble opinion, Ned is the most handsome man. Roz smiled at that. Lord Stark is handsome indeed. Jon is going by the same path as his father, the princess was giving him the looks. To Arthur as well, but he always knew he looks good. Ashura laughed with it. The girl's first crushes, she does seem like a nice girl at first glance, unlike her older brother and mother. The prince didn't even try to hide his disdain. Roz elaborated. The mother is another story, her fake smile is trained, she can fool many with it. Not us, I'm afraid. Ashura smirked. Not us indeed, milady. Roz laughed too. So, I know you and Theon were rather close yesterday, Ashura began as she recalled seeing them both leave at the same time. Roz looked towards her with a surprised look, but then she smiled. He is handsome, but I'm nothing more than a servant to him. Yesterday with all the stress I accumulated, I was feeling quite in the mood, so I did what I had to do. Have you taken moon tea? I have, milady, Roz admitted as she helped Ashura out of the water. Perhaps I shouldn't have done what I did yesterday, I'm so very tired now. That makes the two of us. Ashura smiled while Roz dried her out. Since you seem closer than I am with Theon, can you tell me why he seems so lost? I would ask Arthur, but the boy is so oblivious to things. For what I could gather, Theon seems conflicted about something. He gets angry when someone brings the Greyjoy rebellion. Unfortunately, I had the dreadful idea of bringing it once and he almost gave me a beating for it. Roz confessed. And why didn't you tell me this? Ashura asked aghast. I will not tolerate any of my children or wards doing such a thing. He didn't do it, and frankly I was teasing him a bit too far, Roz admitted. He is very prideful of his origins but seeks approval from Lord Stark, at least that is what I got from it. Interesting. Do you like him? Ashura asked, going straight to the point that had been concerning her for a while. Not quite, and even if I did, he wouldn't want me anyway, Roz said while drying Ashura's breasts. I'm but a mere servant and he is still the heir to the great Balon Greyjoy, as he puts it sometimes. I'm not the only servant he has sex with either. Roz smiled. I have no wish to be a salt wife or anything of the sort. My loyalty is to you and House Stark alone, not House Greyjoy. I have everything I could ask for right now, I have no need for more. And your loyalty and friendship are much appreciated. Ashura assured. This woman was truly a find. It was hard to find a person content with her status. Usually the people who ascended in life wanted more and more, but not Roz. She just wished for food on her plate, clothes to dress with, some decency and a place to sleep. The rest is just add-on. I know so, milady. Roz placed the towels in their place and moved to Ashura's wardrobe, opening it to reveal the many gowns and other dresses of Ashura's possession. What color would you like to wear today, milady? Let's see, I wore grey yesterday, I'm feeling light blue today, what do you think? Milady is the most gorgeous woman I ever laid my eyes on. Anything goes well with you. I'm sure Lord Eddard will agree with me in this regard. He said so many times. Ashura laughed. You are learning something with him too. I did learn quite a lot from your lord husband, milady, Roz declared while she helped Ashura dress the gown. That you are able to scream oh so very loudly. Ashura tried to slap Roz's shoulder, but the woman knew it was coming and so she evaded the hit, giggling in the process. "You naughty one!" Ashura barked. "I will have my revenge." "I'm sorry milady," she was laughing so much now. "I couldn't resist." "Meanie." Anyway, Roz walked slowly towards Ashura, a smirk was still on her face. "I believe, milady is ready to go and shine," she said this as she made some minor adjustments on Ashura's gown. "I'm sad," she said, but Roz giggled and kissed her cheek. "Now that's much better, I accept your apologies." "Thank you, milady." "Time to face these guests," she proclaimed, all energetic. The dawn arises. Eddard Stark 2. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. As Ned had predicted, Robert took long before he arrived at the Great Hall for breakfast. He seemed angry and tired, not good. Robert, contrary to his usual self, remained quiet most of the time. He was pissed about something and half asleep still. Perhaps someone woke him up. Or perhaps he was still recovering from his hangover. Ned remained quiet throughout the entire affair as well, and finally, he felt Ashura's elbow touch his. "You need to do it, love," she said. "I will be by your side, so you ought to not be afraid." Ned nodded and tried to give her an assuring smile, but he knew she saw through it. She knew how to read his eyes. Turning to Robert, Ned gulped and braced himself. "Robert, me and Ashura need a word in private with you if you will." Robert looked at him weirdly but then smiled. "Sure my friend, let me just finish eating this buttered bread and we may go." And with it done, Robert accompanied Ned and Ashura to the Lord's chamber. Inside there were 2 chairs in the Lord's side and 2 chairs on the guest's side. It used to be only one in the Lord's side up until Ned took charge of Winterfell, but there were 2 for obvious reasons. Ned and Ashura took their respective seats while Robert took his. "Remember what Ashura told you?" "I'm inclined to accept being Hand of the King," Ned said. "Good news first, then the bad news." Robert smiled at it. "I knew I could count on you, my friend." "However," Ned interrupted, "I will only be Hand for a year." Robert's happy face quickly turned into a confused one. "What do you mean?" "My place is here, Robert. Starks don't do well in the south, but I'm not going to leave you because we are like brothers. I shall go with Ashura and together we will look for a more competent man for the job, a man that will, of course, be of your trusting." Ned could see Robert becoming redder with anger to the point he stood up, slamming the desk. "What do you mean you will find a proper replacement for the job?" "There is no proper replacement but you. Your Grace, we understand your position, but you ought to understand ours as well." Ashura intervened. "The North stays out of southern politics for a reason. Even I, born and proudly raised in Dorne, know so. House Stark needs to prepare for when winter comes. We are at summer for fuck's sake." Robert shouted angrily. "I will not have this ridiculous affront." "Then I'm afraid you ought to look for a different person, for I will not go." Ned plainly stated. The words hurt him, but this was the right thing to do, for his family. Robert looked towards him with aghast eyes. "You will do this to me?" "Robert, me and Ashura offered you a compromise that suits us all and it's worth taking, and if you refuse to do so and shout at my wife, then I must decline it altogether." Ned insisted. "You will make me nominate Tywin Lannister like Cersei has been pestering me about." Robert tried to blackmail Ned. "Is that what you want?" "It will not work with me, Robert. If that is your choice, then let it be so. I could have your head on a spike for this insult." Robert shouted angrily. "Then do it and prove you are no better than Aerys." Ned shouted back, catching but Robert and Ashura by surprise. "Become what you swore you would not." Robert was caught completely off guard with this. He wasn't expecting a shout from Ned, and so he needed some time to compose himself and more, to see the grave words he was telling his best friend. "The offer is on the table, Robert. Take it or leave it, but don't threaten me or my own in such a way again." Robert simply hustled out of the room, angrily. Alone with Ashura, he finally let out a sigh of relief. "He will accept, once he calms down." Ashura whispered in his ear. "He needs you. Now calm down, love," she cooed while planting many kisses on his cheek. "I was afraid he would harm you," Ned admitted as he kissed Ashura in the lips. "He doesn't look like my best friend anymore." "People change, love," Ashura said while patting his cheek. "When we are at King's Landing, we can't count on him. His help will be appreciated, but we cannot depend on him." Seems as much. What have you turned into, Robert? Cassina Baratheon I. Dragonstone, Narrow Sea, year 298 AC. The sword hit the shield of her opponent once and then twice, and she was panting with the effort. They had been at it for more than minutes. Her name was Cassina Baratheon, the eldest daughter of Lord Stannis Baratheon and Lady Catelyn Tully, niece to King Robert Baratheon and Lord Renly Baratheon. She was as tall as she knew the Baratheons were. She inherited the bright blue eyes of her mother just as her ample buxom, which frankly was starting to give her problems while fighting. From her father, she got her black hair and broad shoulders. Cass, as she was more often called, was said to be a beauty by many, or simply Argella Durrandon reborn, but more often than not, the bane of her mother's existence. Her mother wanted to make her a proper lady that would be the keeper of her husband's household, but that was not Cass. Though she liked to wear dresses, dance, and sing, she loved to do things the boys did as well. She liked to fight, to ride, to hawk and hunt. She was headstrong, proud, wild, but cautious and smart at the same time. She had a soothing voice, but when she was shouting at someone, her voice was loud and deafening. Her opponent was one of the few friends she had. His name was Gian Valerian, the son of the late and disinherited Jacaerys Valerian, who died with some more men protecting the late Queen Rolla from the rest of the Dragonstone's revolted garrison when they decided they wanted to kill her and deliver her corpse to her uncle. The man killed a dozen men before they took his own life. Her father found Sir Jacaerys' brother Montfort crying over the loss of his brother when he landed here, at Dragonstone. Queen Rolla died, but her children escaped to Essos. In another life, Gian would have been the Lord of Driftmark, but now he was almost a nobody if not for the fame he had gotten in some weird episode that happened in that island that made people call him the Sea Dragon. Gian was supposed to be a Valyrian, and yet besides the skin color, he looked nothing like one. His hair and eyes were brown, though sometimes the latter could appear indigo. He had always a distant look on his face, and more often than not had an expressionless face. He was also very shy. He was taller than the average man, but she was outgrowing him even if almost 3 years younger than him. Cassina could yield a sword, a warhammer or a spear if need be, but somehow she never won against Gian. They would simply spend a quarter of an hour sparring. He didn't like to fight, and yet he seemed like he was holding back a lot when they fought, as if he was not even breaking a sweat even if it appeared he was giving his all at it. She swung her sword once, twice and thrice, with Gian blocking every single hit with his shield, but she noted he did not swing his sword back, at least not with the intensity she did. Cass scoffed at it. She wanted to see him fight without holding back. She wanted to see why they called him the Sea Dragon, and why the people of Driftmark, despite loving him, held some sort of fear towards him, a man without a thing to his name but a sword he never seemed to use, because some conflict his father and grandfather had once. Gian was in truth one of the few people Cass was kind of afraid of. She never saw him angry. He was both a good swordsman and an intelligent person, and that was a deadly combination, as her father once told her. She didn't know what to expect of him. Well, she actually did. He wouldn't harm her nor any of her family. He was kind, just and honorable even if he refused to be knighted. He had all the qualities of a knight, yet another mystery she could not find the answer for. "We should call it a day," he told her, panting. "You have sewing to do." "I can still keep going," she muttered. Cassina wanted to keep practicing. She didn't like sewing that much anyway. "No doubt you can, but maybe you should try to spend some time with your family now that your father is here," Gian suggested. "It will be good for Shireen too." Shireen, her sweet sister who had been cursed with grayscale a few years ago. Cass still remembered the many tears she and her mother dropped when the Maesters were trying their very best to save her sweet sister. She survived, but the marks remained as a curse that made so many people disrespect her sister, and she hated them all because of it. Gian was one of the few that saw behind the grayscale mark. Shireen loved him because he was kind to her and always played with her when she begged him to. "Perhaps," Cass admitted while stretched her arms. "Though I fail to know why my father came back so suddenly." "Something ought to have happened in King's Landing, I'm sure," Gian said in a serious tone. "Your father is not a man that has this type of behavior." "Those are my thoughts, but he simply does not tell me what is happening," she confessed, worried. Her father was not like this. He always keeps it for himself. "Your Lord Father will open up sooner or later," Gian assured. "You just have to keep waiting. If it's a truly bad thing, then he will have no choice but to speak of it." "Yes," she agreed. If her father wasn't as stubborn as she was, perhaps she would not be feeling so worried about it. Anyway, I'm going to see Shireen, do you want to come? I will come later, but do tell her we can play hide and seek when I come in. Okay, see you later, she nodded as she began walking back inside. See you later, he smiled a shy smile and she left. Cass was approaching her sister's room when she began hearing her voice. Shireen was reading a story to Sir Davos. The man had been knighted by her father after he saved him and Storm's End garrison from starvation during the rebellion, and Cassandra liked the man as he was nice and kind to Shireen, and that was a quality that made her like people. He was also illiterate, so Shireen could practice her reading with him, filling the man's head with stories of House Targaryen and be happy about it. Her father seemed to think the man as a friend, or at least a valuable counselor, for the man was bluntly honest in a world of flatterers and liars. She smiled and decided to leave them there and go sew some fabrics, lest to make her mother more disappointed with her. She could be a lady and a warrior somehow, she knew she could, perhaps that was her destiny, prove the world it was possible. Notes. So here is a chapter that is not a copy of any in the books. I hope people don't mind me bringing Ros from the show. I sort of liked her character and I wanted Ashura to have a pupil coming from the small folk, so I thought she fitted in the position with just some adjustments to her backstory. I think Martin wanted her to make a cameo at some point in the books, though I'm not sure if it will happen still. And also we get to know what happened to Catelyn now. She and Stannis have 2 daughters. Cassandra Baratheon, born in 284 AC, 13 years old, black hair and blue eyes, heiress to Dragonstone. Shireen Baratheon, born in 289 AC, 8 years old, black hair and blue eyes, unfortunately suffering from the same as Shireen from canon. That's all, thank you for sparing time reading and I hope everyone has a nice day. Chapter 4, A Mind of a Princess. Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Myrcella Baratheon I. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. Myrcella was pleasantly surprised with everything the North was providing her. It was all so different from the tales she heard about barbarians and cannibals that many people told her about, including her mother. The people were so nice and kind, their smiles looked different as well. There was also a sense of unity that you clearly were not able to see in the capital, and this made her curious. If my princess was to move the needle a little more to the left, there we go. The woman who spoke was called Ros, and it was her who taught the girls at Winterfell how to sew and behave like ladies. A stag from House Baratheon. Mother would certainly have given it more thought to it had she knew that it was Ros, a base-born woman who instructed the womanly arts to Stark girls, but for Myrcella it mattered not. The woman was nice, kind and funny, unlike the many septars who gave her the very same lessons at King's Landing. It's pretty, Myrcella admitted as she picked it up and gave it a proper glance. It was definitely her best piece. She had help, but she made it herself. She smiled at the woman. Thank you, lady. What may I call you? She asked, confused. Base-born women held no titles, but Ros was older than her, so she definitely needed to threat some sort of respect. Ros is enough, my princess. The older woman smiled. It will make fewer problems for you and me this way. Thank you, Ros. She thanked the red-haired woman. You're welcome, my princess, Ros said as she looked towards Arya Stark, the middle Stark daughter who Myrcella saw as not the conventional lady type. Arya, have you done your stitches? I did, the girl replied, though she looked not so secure with her work. Let me see, Ros demanded with an expressionless face, and Arya got up from her seat and brought her stitches to the woman, failing to meet the older woman's eyes. Arya, I already showed how to do it properly, Ros remarked, disappointed with how the stitches looked. I hate embroidery. Arya hissed towards the older woman. Myrcella never once heard a girl say such a thing, so she was quite surprised. I want to go practice sword fighting or ride. A girl that fought with swords and rode horses. Myrcella didn't really like weapons, but she would love to ride a horse. She liked horses. When younger she begged her mother for one, but she refused and convinced her father to do the same. Ros sighed as she glanced the stitches once more. We will do it like this. You will try to fix these stitches as I taught you, and we may go see the boys fight for a while. Why can't I practice with them? Arya insisted. Your mother told you why, Arya, Ros said in a louder tone. I'm putting my neck on the line here, so please be nice to me. Arya looked towards the older woman with a disappointed look. Fine, she then returned to her seat and stood there for a while, trying her best to fix her stitches like she was told. Myrcella picked some more sewing threads from the nearby basket and began to make another piece. Roz was watching her, making sure everything was going smoothly. The woman did a better job than the Septars. What is it going to be now, princess? A lion. Do you know how to do one, Roz? She asked curiously. Can't be so different from a wolf, let's see what we can do. What are you talking about? Arya asked suddenly, and Myrcella couldn't but be startled by it. She looked towards the Stark girl, wondering who she was talking to. She found out that Arya was speaking to her sister and friends. One of her sister's friends was giggling, the other was blushing, and Elyana was smiling. Tell me. Arya insisted. We were talking about the prince. Elyana confessed, her voice so melodic like Lady Stark's voice. The older Stark girl looked every bit like her beautiful mother. Joffrey likes your sister. The one called Jane whispered. I don't think Joffrey likes anyone but himself though. He told her she was very beautiful. He's going to marry her. The little one, Beth said all dreamily, hugging herself, and Myrcella felt pity for the three of them. They did not know Joffrey as well as her. He was nothing but mean. Then Elyana will be queen of all the realm. Elyana blushed a little bit. Beth, nothing is decided yet, and my parents have not told me anything about any potential marriage. I don't wish to raise my hopes only for them to be crushed. Myrcella noticed a smile forming on Roz's lips then. What do you think of the prince, sister? Elyana asked her sister with curiosity. Jon and Arthur say he looks like a girl. Arya plainly replied. I think so too. Elyana looked towards her younger sister aghast. Arya, Princess Myrcella is here. Have some decency. I'm only stating the truth. Arya insisted as if it was nothing. Father told us we should tell the truth. And Mother told us to omit it when we risk hurting people. Elyana countered. You were there when she said this. So you admit he looks like a girl, Arya said. Because if you said the truth, you would hurt the princess. No, I did not. The older sister hissed. You know what I mean, Arya. Girls, Roz called the sisters as she led Myrcella's hands in the stitches. You ought to stop bickering, you are both shaming us in the presence of the princess. And have decency in the way you speak of the prince, Arya. Sorry, Arya sighed defeated, but then it looked like she got some idea as she glanced Myrcella and Roz stitching. My princess, what can you tell us of your brother? You know him better than us. Elyana's glance befell on her as well, just as the other girls. Yes, my princess, can you tell us more about him? The older Stark begged, curious about Joffrey. She didn't quite know what to tell them though. There was not much about Joffrey that would make them marveled. He was not smart even if he thought he was. He could barely count to 10 and he was 12, and he was very cruel. Joffrey is handsome, she managed to squeal in a stutter. Myrcella hoped it was enough to stop the questions, but they didn't seem too convinced with any of it, especially Arya. She also noticed Roz stopping her movements with the needle. Girls, I think this is enough sewing for the day. Roz proclaimed as she got up from her seat and helped Myrcella do the same. Let us go see the boys fight for a little bit. Yes. Arya shouted happily. Finally. Oh, I wish to see the prince fight. Elyana proclaimed, and her two friends nodded in excitement. Takes us there, Roz, please. They seemed to have forgotten about their question, thanks to Roz. Calm down, girls. Roz smiled at the impatient girls. Go fetch your pups, and keep them controlled. We will. The Stark girls assured as they ran out of the room. The walk to the courtyard wasn't long. Roz led them to some benches away from the fights but with a good sight to the courtyard. Myrcella petted Arya's puppy who seemed to take an interest in her somehow. Down in the courtyard, her brother Tommen was fighting Brandon Stark amidst a loud crowd of men shouting. The loudest amongst them was the handsome Arthur Stark. They have been fighting for a while, I'm sure, Arya stated while she cuddled her pup. They are panting already. It seems so. Roz agreed. A little more exhausting than needlework, right, Arya? Much more fun than needlework. Arya retorted, and Roz laughed as she wrapped her arm around the Stark girl, bringing her closer. And you, my princess? Are you bored or are you enjoying? Roz asked. Please do tell me your honest opinion, I'm tasked with keeping you entertained and not bored. It's quite all right. Myrcella dismissed. I have seen jousts but not duels, so I'm quite excited. Are jousts like my father says? A waste of time? Arya inquired. A stupid and dangerous game. I can't say it so, she confessed, saddened. I don't understand much of it other than the objective is to send the opponent to the floor. I don't find much amusement in it though, nor does my mother. Then I guess my father is right in his words. The Stark girl admitted. A Southron fancy. Tommen fell to the floor, defeated by Brandon Stark. Myrcella sighed. Her brother was not made to fight either, at least he gave it a try. I could do just as well as Bran, he never defeated me. Arya hissed, disappointed. Perhaps some other time, Arya, you know what your mother told you, no boyish things while the king is here. Ros insisted. But it's not fair. Life is not fair, I'm afraid, Myrcella found herself saying. No matter how good we are or do, we will always be disappointed. She said this while remembering that her mother forgave Joffrey for everything he did, even killing poor and innocent animals, while she and Tommen were simply forgotten unless they were not present somehow. Myrcella was enjoying her time with Ros and the Northern girls more than with her mother, and that saddened her, of course. Indeed, my princess. Ros smiled a proud smile. Life is nothing but unfair. This is a game for children, Sir Roderick, she heard her brother say in a loud voice. The Greyjoy boy and Arthur Stark broke into laughter. And you are not a child? Greyjoy asked, amused. Jon and Arthur might be, her brother said. But I am the Crown Prince and I grow tired of swatting at Starks with a play sword. Are you afraid of getting a beating, my prince? Arthur Stark questioned, smirking. Joffrey glanced the handsome Stark. Oh, terrified, he said in sarcasm. I don't fear Starks since you are all a bunch of weak children. Some Lannister men that her brother surrounded himself with began laughing and smirking. I will prove you so with a steel sword. Perhaps he thought he could kill one of the Starks. For some reason she found it absurd. Joffrey barely knew which part of the sword he should attack with. The Starks seemed to know what they were doing. If that is what you want, my prince, Arthur said with a confident look. Then who am I to disagree? Arthur. Jon Stark stopped his brother from moving further by placing his hand on his brother's shoulder and shook his head in a clear no. Lifesteal is too dangerous. The Master at Arms, Sir Roderick proclaimed. I will permit tourney swords with blunted edges if it pleases you. Joffrey said nothing, but Sandor Clegane came in front of the prince. This is your prince. Who are you to tell him he may not have an edge on his sword, sir? I'm the Master at Arms of Winterfell, Clegane, and you would do well not to forget it. Are you training women here? Sandor inquired. Somehow she thought he wanted Joffrey to be beaten. There was no way Joffrey would defeat any Stark, and Sandor knew it. I am training knights. Sir Roderick plainly stated. They will have steel when they are ready. When they are of age. Sandor looked towards Arthur. How old are you, boy? 13. Arthur replied. I killed a man at 12, he said, smirking and with pride. The thought alone made Myrcella shudder. You can be sure it was not with a blunt sword. It's not me who is forbidding this fight, sir. Arthur barked back. I will gladly put the prince to the dust. Enough. Sir Roderick shouted. You may fight with tourney blades but not live steel. Joffrey shrugged. Come and see me when you are older, Stark. If you are not too old already. There was laughter from the Lannister men following, and Arthur was cursing angrily. Jon Stark and the Greyjoy held him by the arms to stop him from doing something he could regret. Her brother simply feigned a yawn and turned to Tommen. Come Tommen, the hour of play is done. Leave the children to their frolics. The line brought more laughter from the Lannisters and more curses from Arthur, who was proving to have a lot of strength with his arms. Even the Master at Arms seemed angry with all. Well, now the girls know how Joffrey is, a small glance of it at least. He is a cunt. Arya proclaimed bitterly. Arya. Watch your tongue. Ros scolded. Don't curse around other people, it's not proper. But he is the prince still. You don't want your father to have problems with the king, do you? Arya scoffed and said nothing more, while Elaena and her friends were surprised with it all. Their vision of Joffrey being the ideal prince just shattered all because Joffrey did not notice them there, because if he did he would certainly not act that way. Jon, Theon want to have a go at it. While Arthur comes down a bit. Sir Roderick inquired the elder boys who went to their respective end of the courtyard. Arya forgot her anger for a while and began cheering from her brother, and Myrcella was certainly curious as to see two handsome boys fight, and better yet, without her brother there to spoil it all. Cersei Lannister I. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. Cersei and Jaime were both laying down in the improvised bed they made in the abandoned Tower of Winterfell, in which they had their coupling ever since they arrived at Winterfell. They were resting for the first round. "Robert is angry with Stark," she said to her twin whilst looking at the old stone ceiling. "Is that so?" Jaime asked with a smirk, but it seemed like a forced smirk. "It has been a while since they had an argument. What caused it this time?" "Stark told Robert he would only be hand for a year," she began explaining. Still surprised with the fact that the Honorable Eddard Stark wanted to fill his now deceased foster father's shoes. He apparently intended to find a better successor to Lord Arryn. "Then it looks like Stark isn't as stupid as he seems." Jaime laughed, now a genuine laugh. "I do not like it," Jaime, Cersei confessed, afraid with the prospect. "You should be the hand, not Stark nor anyone else." "Me," he glanced her with a smirk. "It's not an honor I would want, there's just too much work in it. Besides, I was never worthy of ruling anything. Can't he see it? Can't he see what I see in that Stark is too righteous? Too honorable to be corrupted, just as Jon Arryn. Can't he see that he is a threat to them? Don't you see the danger that it could put us in?" she asked aghast. "Robert loves the man like a brother." "Robert can barely stomach his own brothers," Jaime said. "And this fight they had just proves that perhaps they don't understand each other that well. Robert has been more distant than normal. He is considering the counter-offer that Stark did," she said. "Robert will accept the proposal, I know he will. He would have commanded us to leave otherwise. You know how he doesn't like to be denied and quits quickly." "Nothing is decided yet." "Don't be a fool, Jaime," she hissed. "You know I'm right." "Damn them both. I should have insisted that he named you, but I was so certain that Stark would refuse him. The likelihood of me being nominated is as big as one of his whores. You should have whispered father's name and not mine." Jaime dismissed. "And you ought to count yourself fortunate, Cersei," he continued. "He could have named one of his brothers. What do you think of Stannis as hand? Surely a wonderful sight for all the realm to see. Or perhaps Littlefinger. Give me honorable enemies rather than ambitious ones, and I'll sleep more easily at night." Jaime was right in it, for as much as she hated it, Stannis as Hand of the King would be a nightmare just as anyone else really. "We will have to watch him carefully," she said. "I don't like the looks of it. I would sooner watch you." Jaime with that smile of his. "Eddard Stark has never taken any interest in what happened south of the Neck in 15 years. Cersei insisted. "I tell you that he means to move against us. Why else would he leave his seat of power?" 100 reasons, Jaime whispered in her ear. "Duty, honor, to write his name further in history, get away from his wife. Actually, no, I doubt he wants that. Perhaps he wants to see her in Dornish laces. Good old Eddard Stark wants to have the full experience of a Dornish wife." Her foolish brother laughed quite loudly with this horrible jape of his. "Speaking of Ashera Dayne Stark, I bet it's that Dornish viper of a wife that is pulling the strings in the back, and now she is getting her hands on Robert through Stark." Cersei murmured. The clarity in everything made her question why she didn't see this sooner. The Dornish woman had been in the capital 3 years, she knew how the game works, and perhaps she wants more than that plain-looking husband of hers, perhaps she wishes for more than a cold wasteland to rule. "Ashera Dayne?" Jaime asked curiously. "I doubt it, her brother wasn't ambitious nor dishonorable, but you never know." "What else could make an honorable fool accept such offer?" she asked confused. "And she is setting her own terms, Jaime. She is making Robert think of it, a counter-offer she likely made. The Dornish woman was smart, she would give her that, but Cersei was a lioness and much smarter. She wouldn't let some Dornish whore defeat her, or no she wouldn't." "I think you are overreacting, Cersei," Jaime said as he rubbed his cock on her skin. "Not everyone is a schemer like you." "I know what I'm talking about," she hissed bitterly. I know she moving against me, just as I know Lysa Arryn is doing the same. You fret too much, Cersei. Jaime as always dismissed. Lysa Arryn is nothing but a frightened cow and Ashera Stark is no threat to us. That frightened cow shared Jon Arryn's bed. Cersei hissed. If she knew anything, she would have gone to Robert before she fled, Jaime said. Robert is the only man that can go against you in such a way. When Robert had made that weakling son of hers to be fostered at Casterly Rock with father, she asked. I think not, she knew her son would be nothing but a hostage. She may grow bolder now that they are both safe at the Eyrie. Mothers, Jaime sighed. I think birthing does something to your minds, and you ought to be all mad. And with that, he laughed once more. Thankfully no one visited the old tower, so the risk was none. Let them both grow as bold as they wish, they have no proof of anything. And do you think Robert will require proof? Cersei asked. I tell you, he loves me not. And I wonder whose fault is that, sweet sister, he asked as in a jape, and she slapped him. You are as blind and stupid as Robert, she hissed. If you mean that I see the same thing, then yes, Jaime admitted. I see a man who would sooner die than betray his king, even with multiple quarrels. I don't deny that Stark is loyal to Robert, that is obvious, she said. But what happens when Robert dies and Joff takes the throne? The sooner it happens, the safer we will all be, she explained. Robert grows restless every day, and having Stark beside him will only make him worse, and don't tell me Robert will not accept the offer, because he will. Stark, the brother of that stupid bitch Lyanna who torments my life even when dead. I wonder long before he puts me aside for some new Lyanna. Jaime sighed, clearly bored with it all. You should think less about the future and more about the pleasures at hand. And with that, he began rubbing her clit, making her moan. Forget them all and focus on us only. We are the only ones that matter. She wanted to say no, but she couldn't really dismiss her other half, and he was kissing her so wildly, so she embraced it all. There would be time to take care of the Stark fool and his Dornish whore. Eddard Stark III. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. So you are telling us that Joffrey was mocking Arthur, Jon and Sir Roderick? Ashera asked, just to be sure after hearing of Ro's report. That little weasel. I also found it weird when Arya asked the Princess Myrcella, which by the way is a wonderful thing, about the prince. She hesitated for way too long and ended up saying he was just handsome before returning to silence and glancing the girls, hoping they would ask for more. Ros elaborated. I fail to notice the problem with it, Ned said to both women, who looked at him with confused eyes as if he was a fool. He simply didn't understand what problem was there in a girl of 8 just saying her brother was handsome. What problem is there with what the princess said? Ned, you simply don't just say your brother is handsome without giving him more qualities such as kind, smart or funny, Ashera explained. Something is not right with the prince, the looks of disdain, the mocking, and his sister merely saying he is handsome just make me uncomfortable. I share the same opinion, my lord. Ros came in her tutor's defense. The boy just gives me a feeling of foreboding, I simply don't like his presence, I feel like I need to be as far away from him as I can. Feminine intuition is powerful, Ned. Ashera insisted. We know what we are speaking of, we can feel it. I can't simply tell Robert that the betrothal cannot happen because of female intuition, Ned said. Not after we made that counteroffer. We need something concrete. I guess we need to continue watching then. Ros sighed. For some reason, she reminded him of someone, but he just didn't know who. It was someone close, but he did not know who, and thought had been messing with his head for more than a decade. Indeed, Ashera sighed as well. You said the princess was a wonderful thing. I did, she is sweet, kind and oh so very smart. They were startled by a knock on the door. They exchanged looks between each other before Ashera glanced Ros and leaned her head towards the door so that the younger woman would open it. Ros, of course, did as she was told. More startled they became when they found out it was Robert who knocked. Your Grace. Ros bowed before Robert, still shaken by the surprise. I need a word with you and your wife, Ned. Robert proclaimed, his expression somber. Ros, could you be a dear and check on the girls, please? Ashera begged with her kind smile. See if they are not making a mess somewhere. Of course, milady. Ros nodded. With your permission, your Grace. Go on. And so Roz did, she gave them the privacy they needed. Robert in the meantime moved towards the chair he had occupied the last time he was in Ned's desk and took a seat in it. I gave it some thought, on the offer you made. And? Ned questioned, curious with what would be Robert's answer. I accept it. Ashura was right, she always is. I fear she might be correct about the boy too. Perhaps I can make you change your opinion later on, make you hand for a while longer, he said with a weak smile. But I accept it nonetheless. I do wish to come back to Winterfell after my term is done, Robert. Ned dismissed. I can only be melted by my wife, not by the South itself. With that Robert's spirit warmed up and he broke into laughter, that booming laugh that made everyone laugh as well. Gods, I must congratulate you, Lady Ashura, you made Ned more than a statue, you actually made him a funny man. Ashura smiled a genuine smile for once with Robert. Your Grace honors me, but he was like this before we met, so I didn't really do anything. He was, but you made him looser, a good thing really, Robert added. I'm sorry for my tantrum the other day, Ned, it was ill done by my part. You too, my lady, my apologies. We all get angry sometimes, Your Grace. Ashura began. A lot of injustices are committed to us and to those we hold dear, but we ought to remain calm. Ashura always had a sharp tongue, even when she was trying to comfort someone. Everything will work out in the end. Indeed, Robert seemed like he noticed what Ashura really meant with her words but did not reply to them. I wanted to leave in at most a week's time, is there an inconvenience to you? Ned glanced at Ashura to see what she would say. There is none, my king, she smiled. We will be ready when you are. Good. Robert smiled a weak smile as he got up. I will do my best to enjoy Winterfell while I can, see you at dinner. He then left the room and Ned was left alone with Ashura. You were right, Ned said while glancing his wife. He did accept it. I know, love, she grinned. You ought to know by now that this woman has a pinky finger that tells her things. You could go easier on him though. Not until Elia and her children's murders are not properly answered, she stated. Justice will one day come, I'm sure, but until then, Robert gets no love from me. He knew better than to contradict her, especially regarding Elia and the children. He too wanted them to be avenged. Now we will have to go to King's Landing, Ned sighed. Don't worry, love, I will be your beautiful guide there, she said while she began pecking him with kisses. Perhaps we can make a run for it to Château's, rent a room, make the people of King's Landing afraid that a Dothraki horde came to their shores. My shining star became a Khaleesi somehow. Ned questioned, amused as she sat on top of him. Yes, she giggled. A Dothraki screamer leading a Dothraki horde. I'm sure the rooms we will be provided have a large enough bed. Oh come on, Ned. Don't spoil things, love, she chided. I know how to make things more interesting in the capital. I will be able to show you some things you never dreamt of. Well, I guess I have no choice but let you guide me then, Ned said as their lips met. I will follow my shining star. You will not regret it, she purred as they joined their lips. You will have the time of your life. Notes. So I decided to show a little bit of Joffrey to the Stark girls through Myrcella and Joffrey himself. Ashura and Roz have him marked. Also, what I give with one hand, I must take with the other. No one will find about the twincest at Winterfell, no one will fall from the tower. This should prove rather interesting. Thank you for sparing time reading and I hope everyone has a nice day. Chapter 5, Questions and No Answers. Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Jon Stark 2. Winterfell, North, year 298 AC. And remember to check the granary storages, love. His mother insisted. We cannot face winter without them full. Don't worry, mother, he assured with a shy smile. Arthur and I will keep them full and under constant surveillance. His mother looked at him with a proud look. I know, love, it's just the mother in me telling me I need to annoy my son with motherly things. You do love to tease me, Jon murmured. Oh, you have no idea, sweeterling, she smiled a bright smile. I love teasing you and your father so much, you simply have no idea, and with that, she pinched his cheek with a devilish smile. Now give a big hug to Mama. He promptly did as he was told. He hugged his mother. Jon would surely miss her, his father and his siblings, but this was his big chance to prove what he was capable to do. Be careful in the capital, mother. I will, John, she assured. I will protect our pack down at the capital. Everything will be fine, I can assure you. He hoped she was right. If half the things she told him were true, then he feared for them, but he knew his mother was tough just like the rest of his family. Wolves are predators, not the prey. We hunt together, we are strong together. Father always said, when the snow falls and the white wind blows, the lone wolf dies but the pack survives. His mother completed laughing. I love that one, she said while eyeing him so more. You are so similar to your father. I knew it from the day I first saw you, the day you came from my womb to the world. Everyone told me so too, and when your father held you in his arms after returning from the war that took so much from him, he cried while doing so, tears of joy. It was one of the best moments of my life. You said so many times, mother. John smiled, finding the thought of his father crying even if tears of joy a foreign thing. I like to make my point clear, love, she said. So I know people understood what I said. Then her face got sober. Now some tips. Keep an eye out for the Boltons. They aren't stupid to the point of attacking us, but I don't trust in them, especially if the rumors about that bastard of Lord Bolton killing his true-born son are true. The Boltons were ancient rivals of House Stark. Their family feud went on into immemorial times. Some said they still practiced forbidden customs such as flaying people or the first night rite. John never liked them, and neither does any Stark for the matter, and the feeling is reciprocated. I will keep them in mind, he assured. And in Arthur and Theon as well. The wolf blood is still without control in your brother. Ros told me what happened with the Crown Prince, his mother admitted with a sigh. He has to keep in line or he might end like his Uncle Brandon did. Neither father nor mother talked much about Uncle Brandon and Aunt Lyanna. From Uncle Brandon, John knew he rode hard to the capital where he demanded justice for his sister who had been abducted by Rhaegar Targaryen, and in the process, due to a bad choice of words, he was arrested and later died choking as he attempted to save grandfather Rickard from burning once he came to the capital as well. Arthur is still young, mother. He will learn with time, mother. John said. Keep him close, hear his counsel when he gives it, and reprimand him when he gets too wild or disinterested. His mother said. Also, there is another matter we ought to begin discussing soon. What is it? Your marriage. The words of his mother hit him hard in the gut. It wasn't as if he didn't wish to marry, because he did, but he wanted a woman like his mother so he could have a marriage like his parents, a happy one. Marriage, he asked just to be sure. Indeed, she said. You are close to your 15th namesday and you are the heir to the north. Your father and I have been brooding for years that you should marry when you are 16, but we don't want you to marry by force because it would be hypocritical in our part, since me and your father married for that very same reason. That is why we are so concerned with the king's proposal of marrying his son with Lyanna. I don't like Joffrey Baratheon, mother. John confessed. Neither do I or Ros, and your father seems to be slowly sharing the same opinion. His mother said. But anyway, we were thinking on organizing a big harvest feast this next year, be it summer or autumn. Invite some young ladies, perhaps you will be able to find one good one amongst them. That would be difficult. All of them saw the heir to Winterfell in him, not Jon Stark the person. They all wanted him because it was convenient for their families to get closer to Winterfell, but if his father found a woman like mother, and in a feast, then perhaps, if he was so much like his father, perhaps he would find one too. Maybe you are right. But that is something for us to worry when the new year comes and we are back at Winterfell. His mother said while pinching his cheek. Now I shall not hold you for longer. Go and say goodbye to your siblings, and give a certain sword to someone. How did, he was going to ask the question anyone would, but his mother simply moved her pinky finger while grinning. I don't know why I even asked. Go on, love, she encouraged as she pushed him around. I'm sure she will love it. I have to finish packing things and still have a conversation with your brother Arthur. John left his mother's private chambers, which she did not use for anything but extra storage for her things, and walked to the armory. There he picked his package and he waited a while for Arthur to arrive. His brother showed up panting. He had run there. Sorry, I took so long, brother. Arthur murmured as he regained his breath. Mother kept insisting about me behaving well and all. She wanted to emphasize her point. John said. Well, she said that very same thing to me. Are you perhaps turning into mother? Arthur broke into laughter and John soon followed. I may become a father in a nearby future, but a mother, that is unlikely, Jon commented as he tried to regain his composure. We have something to do, brother. Indeed, brother. His brother nodded. Let us go to our dear sister. The courtyard was blatant. The servants were packing the many chests with his family's belongings in the many wagons. Father was coordinating everything together with Sir Roderick. Lyanna was enjoying a conversation with Jane Poole and a saddened Beth Castle, who was not allowed to go. Next to them slept Star, Lyanna's gentle pup. Lyra was happily playing with hers, which she called Blackie. Jon had called his ghost, for he made no sound and was white as a ghost, while Arthur's was called Breeze. Brandon came next with his pup Rune and huge ironwood chest likely filled with books more than clothes. And finally came Arya with an ironwood chest of her own and Nymeria strolling next to her. His middle sister looked displeased. Arya. Arthur called and their sister's attention turned to them. Jon motioned her to come to them and she did so. Yes, she questioned, confused. What did you do now? Jon asked, slightly amused. Arya made a grim face. Ros told me I had to pack everything properly folded and not messy. Ros was right, little sister. Arthur agreed with the older woman who was talking to their mother as the two of them walked to the wheelhouse that would transport them and the girls. Even Arya. Arthur, you hardly fold your clothes at all, so you can't give her a lecture. Jon said. Arya lolled her tongue out to their brother with the opportunity Jon provided her with. They are all going to get messed up anyway. Why should I bother with it? Because it's better than way, Jon explained. But Arthur and I didn't come here to talk about folded clothes, Arya. We came here to give you a little present of goodbye, Arthur added with his smirk. For our favorite troublemaker. A present, she said, beaming. Jon pulled the package out while Arthur untied the rags wrapped around the present, picking it up and lifting it to the sky where it shone bright with the light. A sword, she remarked in a surprised whisper. The scabbard was soft grey leather, supple as sin. Jon drew out the blade slowly, so she could see the deep blue sheen of the steel. This is no toy, he warned her. Be careful not to cut yourself in it, Sister, Arthur added. The edges are very sharp. It's such a skinny blade, she remarked while she glanced the blade from up and down. So are you, little troublemaker, Jon said, amused. We had Mick can make it like the swords of the free cities. These are not made to cut heads off but to pierce holes in the opponent, Arthur said as he placed it in Arya's hands. Perfect for someone as skinny as you. But you will have to work at it every day. Arya was already waving it to test it. She had some practice with swords but did not have a sword of her own yet, and of live steel too. How does it feel? Do you like the balance? Yes, she said, much happier than before. We should have given it more thought, Jon, said Arthur, smiling. Poor Bran will be dragged into never-ending fights now. Gods, Jon whispered as he messed up Arya's hair. Go easy on him, will you? I will, Arya assured. When I see it fit. And hide it from the royals, Arthur added. They will be with their pride shattered when a girl waves her sword better than the crown prince. Arthur. Jon scolded as Arya giggled. Sorry, Arthur said with his head low. Or not. I wish you both could come as well, Arya murmured with a sad face. It would be so much better. It will just be a year, Arya, Arthur said as he clapped her shoulder. We will be here waiting for the next champion of Winterfell to arrive and kick our asses to the dirt. We will miss you, little sister, Jon said. But as Arthur said, it will be just a year. Now put the sword down and give us a hug, Arthur commanded, and she did so, hugging them tightly and showering them with kisses. Also, don't you wish to know what the name of your sword is? Name? She asked, confused. Does it have a name too? All the best swords have names, Jon said, smiling. This one is named after your favorite thing. She seemed puzzled at first, but then it came to her. Needle. Indeed. Both brothers laughed. Thank you both, she said as she made way to her chest to store it there. Arthur and Jon said their farewells to the rest of their siblings and friends. Their mother showered them in more kisses and hugs before letting them say goodbye to their father. Winterfell will be yours for the next year, his father said with a shy smile. It's not an easy task, but I'm sure you two and Theon can pull it up. We won't let you down, Father Arthur assured. We will make you proud. You already do. His father agreed. Remember everything me and your mother taught you. It will come in handy now. We will. Jon nodded as he hugged his father. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. His father smiled. Take care you both. Take care Father Arthur said while hugging his father as well. Winter is coming. And with that, the royal party finally left Winterfell. The north was his responsibility and duty. He would prove his worth now. Cassina Baratheon 2. Dragonstone, Narrow Sea, year 298 AC. Cassina was peeking through the door of the Lord's chamber. Her father was there writing some documents, and... Cassina, are you to stay there for the rest of the day? Her father inquired. I'm sure you have lessons to attend with your Septa that will certainly be more productive. Septa Mordane. To the woman Cassina was certainly a heathen. Mordane was nice but very strict. She more than complimented Cassina's abilities and qualities as a lady but also scolded without stop for her more boyish behaviors. Not that Cassina ever cared about her scolding. I wanted to inquire you about something, father. Cassina began as she approached her sire. And what is it? Her father asked back, his gaze falling upon her. Why have you left King's Landing in such short notice? Her father studied for a while. She didn't spend much time with him as he mostly spent his days in the capital, doing his duty as master of ships, but every time he came to do his duty as a husband and as a father, Cassina would always try to play as much as she could with him. He wasn't the perfect father, far from it. She came to find out that her father was uncomfortable around women and well, Cassina was a woman. But he never denied her of anything and gave his best to make her someone with a future. What is your guess? Another thing her father liked to do with her was putting her brain to work with difficult questions. Usually, she liked the challenge, but today she was not really in the mood for it. Something happened at King's Landing that placed your life at danger, she suggested. Her father smiled one of his rare and shy smiles. You are certainly a bright woman, he confessed. Your mother and even Sir Davos thought I had another quarrel with your Uncle Robert, and to an extent, they right as I indeed had one. That is not surprising, Cassina confessed. And because it was not surprising and actually quite normal, it could never be that the reason for you to leave your position. A good reasoning. Her father admitted. Are you tell me what happened? She insisted. She wanted answers. No, he plainly said. You are still too young to understand. I'm 14, father, she hissed bitterly. You just told me that I am a bright person, and frankly I doubt I wouldn't understand it. Am I not worthy of knowing? Let us forget about this, he said. The Septa should be waiting for you, and if not her, then Valerian should. But this not. Go on with your duty. And that placed her on her place, or so he thought. She would get her answers. When the afternoon came, she was fighting with Gian, angrily because no one told her anything, not father, not Gian, not mother, no one did. She had to find out everything on her own, and she was tired of it. You should calm yourself, Cassina, Gian suggested. Your movements have no precision. If it were a battle, you could very well be dead. And what do you know about battles anyway? She retorted angrily. You said you hate to fight, and you are barely older than me, so can you know? He has spilled blood already, young lady Cassina. She and Gian glanced the woman who spoke. She was standing there by the courtyard. A woman of long copper hair and pale skin, with full breasts and a slender figure concealed in a long robe of bright red fabric. There was a red and gold choker with a huge bright ruby around her neck. Who are you? Cassina inquired. She never saw this woman before. And how do you know my name? You are Lord Stannis Baratheon's daughter, she replied with a deep and weird accent as she began walking towards them. Everyone on this island knows your name, my lady. And yet I do not know yours, and I certainly do not like it. Cassina retorted as she was getting confused with Gian's weird and hypnotized look as the woman walked towards them. You may call me Melisandre, she said with a smile. I'm a red priestess. Gian completed, and she sighed mentally for him returning to his normal self. Indeed, young Gian Valerian, who they call the Sea Dragon, she said with an amused look, a weird smile on her face. Is it true what they say of sea dragons? That they ate Krakens? How did she know he was called Gian? And how did she know he was a Valerian? And what did this talk about sea dragons and Krakens meant? According to legend, yes, Gian replied expressionlessly. I'm quite sure if another is to be spotted it will be with a kraken in its mouth. Very interesting, the woman said as she stood in front of Gian glancing him from up and down. I have seen you in the flames. I have no wish to know about my future. Gian dismissed while Cassandra was still confused with it all. Surely you did came here to Westeros talk of a disinherited man. I have not, but that doesn't mean I should abandon the notion, she whispered. I have a job to do, but it looks as if I have to wait a while more. And what job is that, may I know? Cassandra inquired. She had never so confused in her life as she was now, more questions and fewer answers. Great. You will find out soon enough, Lady Cassandra. The woman bowed as she began walking away. The night is dark and full of terrors, and you and your family will need the light in what is to come. Not too long after, and the woman completely disappeared. Cassandra did not know what in seven hells just happened there. Are you all right, Cassandra? Gian asked. No, I'm not, she hissed bitterly. What was all this? I don't trust her, Gian confessed. There is a weird aura about her, and many of the Red Priests are religious fanatics, making sacrifices to their god. Fanatics are dangerous. Then she remembered Gian's weird look and the realization came to her. Were you staring at her breasts? She questioned with a raised eyebrow. Gian seemed to be caught off guard with her question, or so she thought. No, was his reply. She was walking towards me. I had to stare at her to see if she was not going to attack me somehow. I most certainly was not staring at her breasts. It wasn't the first time she noticed him staring where it could be considered inappropriate. His glances were fast and not common, but she did catch him staring at her sometimes. He wasn't the only one though, man sometimes were a bunch of pigs. If you say so, she concluded with wary eyes. Though I must agree with you, I don't trust her either. She got here without anyone suspecting her, Gian added. Perhaps I should send some soldiers to fetch her. For some reason, I doubt it will do much, he said. If she wanted to kill us, she could do it if the things I heard about them Red Priest are true. More questions? Great. I will order the soldiers to be more attentive nevertheless. I guess it doesn't hurt to do that. I also wanted to say that I'm going to King's Landing soon, she said. That caught Gian by surprise. Why? My father refuses to tell me what happened there, so if I want to know, I ought to go there myself. Cassandra explained. Do you realize how awful it sounds? He questioned her decision. Your father left King's Landing for a reason, and you want to go there hunting for a needle in a haystack. I will be fine, besides there has been a while since I last saw mine uncle. She dismissed his worries. It will do me good to leave Dragonstone for once. It will do you no good to go to a nest of vipers. I know how to defend myself, she insisted. I'm the king's niece, surely no one will dare to harm me. Cassandra, you are a smart woman, and so you can't believe in that. Gian retorted. It's risky. Then come with me and shut up, because I'm going anyway. She made her decision clear, and it wouldn't be him convincing him otherwise. Gian sighed, defeated. What they say about Baratheons is true, you are all stubborn as the gods know what. So you are coming, or keep ranting to the air. I can't let you go alone, he admitted. So I guess I will go with you. But all the blame is yours. Don't worry, I will take responsibility for it, she assured him. Oh, and don't stare at women's breasts as you just did. I wasn't staring at her breasts, he declared in a sigh. I'm going to find out what happened in the capital, why father left. If no one tells me the answers, then I find them myself. Notes. So here is another chapter. Since I have been receiving suggestions on who should Jon marry, I decided to create a poll with some of my thoughts, from the ones I prefer to those I don't really want. It will go in 2 rounds, each lasting a week. First round will have all these candidates below, and the second will have the 3 most voted ones. You can only vote in one. It will happen here and at fanfiction.net. I must apologize to anyone who saw the straw poll. It's no longer viable since they won't allow me to use links in fanfiction.net for some reason, so just comment down below who do you pick from. Winifred Mondaly, Alis Karstark, Ygritte, Meera Reed, Wyler Mondaly, a Umber daughter of Greatjon, a Mormont daughter of Mage, Cassandra Baratheon, Val, Margaery Tyrell, Myrcella Baratheon. As always, thank you for sparing time reading, and I hope everyone has a nice day. Chapter 6, Talking about Dead Things. Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Ashura Dane 4. Somewhere by the Barrowlands, north, 298 AC. They had stopped somewhere in the Barrowlands to stretch their legs and have some rest after hours of riding. Princess Myrcella had come to with them once more, and once more Queen Circea politely tried to stop it from happening, but to no avail, as Robert himself encouraged his daughter to join Ashura's daughters. Brandon and Tommen were also getting friendlier towards each other. It seemed only Joffrey wasn't much interested in them, except for Lyanna, and that worried Ashura. The princess is quite happy with the girls, Ros stated. I think our girls have made a friend. I'm actually quite surprised that Arya has warmed up for her, Ashura admitted as she glimpsed the girls playing Catch Me If You Can while Bran reads some book about some kings in the north. It's some progress made. Indeed, I'm quite surprised myself, but then again Arya just wants to feel loved. Ros said with a warm smile. It's more complicated than that, but not entirely false. Ashura nodded, recalling her memories of Lyanna, the person Arya resembles the most, and how sadly her sister-in-law's life ended. At least she died in Ned's arms, the person she loved the most. Yes, I do know, milady, but when Jane called her horseface a few years ago and they all laughed at her, she was heartbroken. I found her crying on her room not long after. She, in her innocence of 5 or 6 years old, asked me why she wasn't pretty as her sister, or me, or you, milady. Ros said with a plain face, then soon turned to a smile. I told her that she was the one who resembled her Aunt Lyanna the most, and as because of it, she would be a great beauty when older, putting her sister and friends to shame. That was when I gained her trust. She just needed someone else besides you to tell her what I told her. And I, of course, was thankful for your deed, my dear, Ashura said whilst patting her companion's cheek. Fortunately it didn't take long for Lyanna to understand that shameful act she and her friends had and apologized to Arya, making everything go smoother between them all. They were a pack and had to behave as such. Has milady seen the murderous looks the Queen has been giving us? Ros asked. She does not seem very happy that her cubs are playing with our pups. Let her look at me, as I will keep looking at her as well. Ashura proclaimed. I will be waiting for her move. That is if she is stupid enough to try anything. 4 eyes are better than just 2, milady, Ros laughed. And mine are sharp and trained. Oh, I know that much, love. Ashura laughed as well. You were a wonderful apprentice. I appreciate the compliment, milady. Ros smiled. May I ask where Lord Eddard is? I haven't seen him yet. Robert came by to have a talk with him when he brought Myrcella, Ashura explained. Alyn told me the king came very early but decided against bothering us so early and came an hour or 2 later. Talk about matters of state, I presume. Most certainly. Ashura agreed. Or something that should not fall in the wrong ears. I wonder in which state the realm really is. The North has been prospering for more than a decade, but I must admit I'm quite clueless in the matter as well, Ashura confessed. But no doubt Ned will elucidate me. No doubts indeed, milady, Ros said. The day our kind Lord Eddard does not tell you something is the day we ought to be extra careful. Wise words, my friend, wise words. Ashura agreed. By the way, I would like your opinion on a particular matter. I was thinking of inviting my friends from Dorne for a meet-up in the capital so we can introduce each other's children to each other and a pleasant conversation. The ladies Jasline, Nysa, and Emily. Ros questioned. Them exactly. It has been 15 years since I saw them. We have not talked beside letters too. I need to share some words with them. While I certainly don't disagree, I believe we should be settled properly in the capital before we attempt such a thing. Ros explained her point of view. I don't believe the Queen, who already has her eyes set on us, or the courtiers will appreciate a sudden increase of Dornish blood in the capital. Yes, you do have a point, she admitted, a little saddened, but this was something she really wanted to do, so she would falter at it. I do have a full year in the capital, so I can wait a few months more. That sounds like a wonderful plan, milady, Ros said. I must say I do look forward to meeting them. They will love you, Ashura said. A friend of mine is a friend of theirs, Ashura said as she rested her hand on Ros' shoulder. Now shall we join our girls and have some fun while we wait for my dearest husband to arrive? Or that cursed wheelhouse of the Queen, if it ever gets here, that is. Ros broke into laughter and Ashura did so too. Let's do this. Eddard Stark 4. Somewhere by the Barrowlands, north, 298 AC. The sun was high in the sky while they crested a low ridge when Robert finally pulled up his horse. They seemed to be miles away from the main party and Ned was, of course, worried for his family. Robert was flushed and exhilarated. "Gods," he proclaimed laughing. "It feels good to get out and ride the way a man was meant to ride. I swear, Ned, this creeping along is enough to drive a man mad. That damnable wheelhouse, the way it creaks and groans, climbing every bump in the road as if it were a mountain. No wonder my daughter prefers to ride on your wife's wheelhouse," he roared in laughter. "I swear to you if that wretched thing breaks another axle, I'm going to burn it and Cersei can bloody walk to the capital on her pristine feet." Ned laughed. "I will gladly light the torch for you." Robert laughed while clapping him on the shoulder. "I have half a mind to leave them all behind and just keep going," he proclaimed. "What do you say, Ned? Just you and me as two vagabond knights on the King's Road, our swords at our sides and the gods know what in front of us. Maybe a farmer's daughter or a tavern wench to warm our beds tonight. I have a wife." Ned quickly dismissed, he was well enough with his wife to look for a tavern wench. "Who needs a tavern wench? You have a Sheridan. And we have our duties now." Robert laughed yet again. "Bring the woman along for all I care, as long as she makes you happy I will not object." His friend's expression turned somber. "Well, I did not bring you here for some foolish dreams of mine. There came a rider in the night, from Lord Varys in King's Landing. I better just show you the bloody message." With that he pulled a paper from his belt and handed it to Ned. Ned unrolled the paper with trepidation to see what the eunuch had to say. "Your Grace. May this letter inform you that Daenerys Targaryen has married the great Khal Drogo and by now she most likely rides in the Dothraki Sea in Khal Drogo's huge khalasar. We will be expecting your Grace's command on how to deal with this situation. Lord Varys." "What is the source of this information?" Ned asked. "Where did Varys learn it of this? Do you remember Sir Jorah Mormont?" "Would that I might forget him," Ned said bluntly. Jorah had tried to swell the family coffers by selling some poachers to a Tiroshi slaver because his lands were cold and poor and he had a Hightower wife to satisfy. The crime dishonored the North and before Ned could apply justice, Jorah had taken a ship to Essos with his expensive wife. He was in Pentos at the time of this marriage, anxious to earn a royal pardon that would allow him to return from exile, Robert explained. Lord Varys makes good use of him. So the slaver has become a spy, Ned said with distaste. Jorah had been a great man and now he is but a mere shadow of that man. He handed the letter back. Jorah aside, what do you make of his report? Robert inquired. Daenerys Targaryen has wed some Dothraki horse lord. What of it? Ned asked. Shall we send her a wedding gift? Robert frowned. A knife perhaps. A good sharp one and a bold man to wield it. Ned tried his best to keep his temper this time. Your Grace, the girl is scarcely more than a child and you are no Tywin Lannister to slaughter innocent children. And how long will she remain an innocent? Robert's mouth grew hard. This child of yours will soon enough spread her legs and start breeding more dragon spawn to plague me. Nonetheless, Ned sighed as he thought about his promise. The murder of children, it would be vile, unspeakable. Unspeakable. The king roared. What Aerys did to your brother Brandon was unspeakable. The way your father died, that was unspeakable. And Rhaegar, how many times do you think he raped your sister? How many hundreds of times? His voice had grown so loud that his horse whinnied nervously beneath him. It wasn't Elya's children, not Daenerys Targaryen, those who committed the atrocities, Ned said without blinking. I hold no hate towards them. Robert jerked the reins hard, quieting the animal and pointed an angry finger at Ned. I will kill every Targaryen I can get my hands on until they are as dead as their dragons. And then I will piss on their graves. And you better not be against me, Ned. Don't you dare be against me. Ned knew better than to defy him further. You can't get your hands on this one, can you? Robert's mouth twisted in a bitter grimace. Some pox-ridden Pentoshi Chisemunga had her brother and her walled up on his estate with pointy-hatted eunuchs all around them and now he handed them over to the Dothraki. I should have killed her years ago, when it was easy to get them, but Jon was as bad as you, more fool was I for listening to him. John Arryn was a wise man and a good hand, Ned said. Robert snorted. The anger seemed to be leaving him now. This Khal Drogo is said to have 100,000 large horde. What would John say to that? He would say that even 1,000,000 Dothraki are no threat to the realm, so long as they remain on the other side of the narrow sea, Ned replied calmly. They have no ships and hate the sea. Robert shifted uncomfortably in his saddle. There are ships to be had in the free cities, Ned. I do not like this marriage, he hissed. There are still those who call me usurper. Did you forget how many fought for the Targaryens? They bide their time for now, but give them half a chance and they will murder me and my own. If the beggar king crosses with a Dothraki horde at his back, the traitors will join him. He will not cross, Ned promised. And if by some chance he does, we will throw him back into the sea. Once a warden of the East is. For the last time, I will not name Jon's son as warden. Robert groaned. With the Targaryens climbing in bed with the Dothraki, I would be mad to rest 1/4 of the realm on the shoulders of a sickly child. Ned was already prepared for this. Yet we still must have a warden of the East. If the boy will not do, name your brother Stannis. He has proved himself countless times. He let the name hang there for a moment. Robert merely frowned and said nothing as he looked uncomfortable. Then it came to him. That is, unless you have promised the honor to another, Ned murmured quietly. For a moment Robert had the grace to look startled, and just as quickly it turned into annoyance. What if I have? You named Jaime Lannister, did you not? Robert kicked his horse back into motion and started down the ridge toward the barrows. Ned kept pace with him, he was not letting him go without an answer. I did. No matter how much Ashura told him that the man did a great thing, he still didn't see it as such. An able and courageous man, no doubt, Ned proclaimed. But his father is Warden of the West. No family should hold both the East and West. That will place half the armies of the realm into the hands of Lannisters. I will fight that battle when the enemy appears on the field, make no mistake of it. Robert proclaimed stubbornly. Don't vex me about this, Ned, the stone has been set. May I speak frankly? Ned asked. I seem unable to stop you. Robert grumbled while they rode through tall brown grasses. You are drowning yourself in a Lannister sea. You have given them far too much power for such a treacherous house. Ned plainly stated. When I entered King's Landing after the Trident, the city had been sacked through treachery, just as they killed Aerys. Treachery was a coin the Targaryens knew well. Robert dismissed as the anger was building up again. The Lannisters paid them back in kind. It was no less than what they deserved. I have no trouble sleeping at night. And someone had to kill Aerys anyway. You were not there to see the people being raped and murdered, Ned said with bitterness in his voice as he recalled some of those horrific scenes. There was no honor in that conquest. The others take your bloody honor. Robert barked. What did Targaryens ever know about honor? Go down into your crypts and ask Lyanna about it. You avenged Lyanna at the Trident, Ned said, halting beside the king. That did not bring her back. Robert looked away, off into the distance. Nor did killing Elia Martell and her children. Ned insisted. Your wife is surely whispering in your ear about it, isn't she? Robert asked. She is Dornish and a former lady-in-waiting to that. I do not need Ashura whispering in my ear to know it was wrong. Ned dismissed. What did the woman and her babes do to us? Enough of talking about Targaryen whelp, he roared. I agree. I must return to my wife and children, Ned said as he felt a vast sense of helplessness as Robert was still haunted by Targaryens while he was being encircled by Lannisters. This is going to be way more difficult than what I thought. They should be worried about me by now. It's better indeed. Robert agreed. Let us return, I have said everything I needed to. Ned was simply no Jon Arryn to curb Robert's wildness. Robert would do what he pleased as he always had, and there was nothing that Ned do to change that. He hoped he and Ashura would be able to at least make everything better before their term ends. Arto's Dawn Bright Eye. MYR, Free Cities, year 298 AC. The inn was bloody loud and overcrowded with people celebrating an important victory of MYR over Tiosh. Women roamed around the tables, trying to get some extra coin with the victory. there would be more potential clients than usual. The Mirish wine tasted like piss, nothing could surpass Dornish vintage, but ever since that day in Dorne all those years ago, he refused to drink Dornish wine even if there was plenty of it in the free cities. "Hey, handsome." A slender woman of olive skin, curly black hair and a small chest said with a bright smile directed at him. Her looks reminded him of the only woman he ever loved, a woman who he did nothing to save and let die. "Would you join me for a ride upstairs?" "I'm afraid not," he replied with a polite smile. "Why not, handsome?" she asked curiously. "Do you not find me attractive enough?" "I do," he dismissed. "I'd be a fool if I said otherwise." "Then why won't you have me, sir?" she asked rather disheartened. "You remind me of the only woman I ever loved," he confessed. "I failed her and allowed her and her children to die. I'm not worthy enough of bedding someone who looks so much like her." The whore eyed him with a confused and yet compassionate look as it seemed, those expressions reminded him of her. "Sir, allow this woman some boldness, but I'm quite sure the woman you loved so much would not like to see you depressed," she said, and Artos smiled at that. "She wouldn't, but I would. But I must respect your decision. I'm sorry to have bothered you. Do have a pleasant evening and may you find some peace in your soul." She bowed and began walking away. "Wait," he called, and she returned confused. "How much do you cost?" 24 barges, sir," she replied. "Why have you changed your mind?" Artos picked his coin bag in which he held the many different coins of the many different places and picked the currency of Myr, the barge. "Here you go," he said as he dropped them on her small palm. "For your understanding of my situation." The woman smiled. "I should have known, thank you so much, sir." "Really, thank you." "Please do not call me sir," he begged. "I'm not worthy of such a title." "Can I have another name to call you then?" she asked. "Artos," he replied. "Artos Dawnbright." She once more smiled a bright smile. "Well, Artos Dawnbright, if you ever find yourself with your mood changed, just ask for Nella." "I will keep that in mind," he said as he drank more of his wine. "But you know that is not going to happen." "Never hurts to try. See you around, handsome." And with that, she left, to find another client or do something else entirely. Her life was hers to live and not his, but gods did she look so much like her. He stayed there for a while more, drinking, and when he was done with that, he simply stared at his empty cup. "This sort of thing does remind me of someone I know," the thought alone made him smile. "I wonder how they are now. I hope they are well. I would hate to have her sad, but I know she is not." "There you are." The voice of the boy he was now sworn to protect made him look towards the direction it came from. The boy painted his silver blonde hair with blue dye to conceal his identity, though his eyebrows remained in their natural color. He was a rather tall, handsome boy that resembled his father in looks and voice but his mother in personality. Next to him was the lad's friend, Sir Rowley Duckfield, this one a man grown already, broad-shouldered and tall, with orange hair and beard and brown eyes. "Here I am indeed. We always find you drinking at some inn," Artos Rowley commented. "That is not very healthy, is it? Life is not healthy and is full of sorrows, and you ought to drink them away somehow." The boy said with his own smile. "That's what he always says, isn't it?" "Indeed, lad," Artos said while pointing the empty cup towards the boy. "You better remember that till your last breath. Now, why have you both came here?" "Griff says we are leaving by the morrow, to Pentos, I believe." The boy explained. "It has been a while since we have been there." "Indeed it has." Perhaps now Artos could demand that fat fuck some explanations on why Daenerys Targaryen was sent off to Mariacle of all people. This is why they should have never trusted Varys, because now he was turning everyone into his own pawns for something he did not know. "Indeed it has," Artos admitted. "Well, you know Griff," Artos Rowley said, smirking before he began imitating Griff's voice. "We ought to rise early to catch the better breezes." Artos couldn't but smile, and the boy was laughing. "That is a Griff for you," Artos said. "He never gets tired of being a killjoy. The older he gets, the worse he gets as well." "We are off to bed, Artos," the boy said. "Lest to make him angry and round us. Are you staying for a while more?" "I am," Artos admitted. "Then you better pour some more wine in that empty cup or you look stupid," the lad murmured as he clapped his shoulder just before leaving with Rowley. Perhaps I gave him way too much freedom with me, but he does have a point. I do look stupid with an empty cup on my hand. Half an hour later, he had finished the 5th cup of Mirish water. Thanks to Dornish wines he had a strong stomach to wine, so he wasn't too drunk yet as some people would be, but he was bored and tired, and for that, he decided to go to his room upstairs and sleep, as he was not interested in hearing Connington or Griff or whatever fake names they went on by, round him. When he was at the door of his room, he began hearing some voices down the hall. "Let me go." This one was a female's voice. "Oh come on gorgeous." And this one was a male. "I want to have a good time with you." "Then pay for it." Artois went on to see what was happening and saw that whore from earlier, Nella, was being harassed by a huge man, much taller than Artois himself. "I don't think I will," the man said as he pushed her against the wall in a brutish way. "I'm just going to shove my cock up your cunt whore, and for free." And with that, he began tearing up Nella's silks while she tried her best to free herself from his grip while she screamed in agony. And no one gave a shit about her. The words he heard 15 years ago came to his mind. "She was raped and murdered." I almost puked with the sight. It was a terrible sight and sin. Without any more thought, Artois unsheathed his sword out. It was nothing like that blade he yielded years ago, which certainly would reject him now, for he was a sinner. The huge man was already naked below his waist when his head went flying in a single slash as it hit the wall and gave its final breath. Nella fell to the floor, shocked with everything she had seen. Her clothes were completely tarnished, her womanhood and breasts were displayed for anyone to see, and tears were on her eyes and face. Was this how Elia looked before she was raped and murdered? To his own surprise, Artois began to drop tears as well. He gently grabbed her hand and brought her along to his room. "You can have the bed, I shall sleep in the floor," he told her as soon as the door was closed, failing to hide his own tears. "You are crying," she whispered, confused and worried. "Something got into my eyes, that is all," Artois dismissed. "I don't cry." "But go to sleep," he commanded her. "Whoever asks, you were with me the whole night, pleasuring me." Nella looked wary of it, but she finally laid down on the bed. "Thank you, Artois." "Don't mention it," he said. "Sleep well and forget what happened." After that, they remained in silence. Artois spent quite a while cleaning his sword, for the cunt's blood had stained it, and when he was done he took a glance at the woman. She was sleeping peacefully in the bed, and he wondered if it was like this that Elia slept. He never had the chance to see. Artois decided to not think about it further, as he would likely break down in tears once more, and on the floor, he slept. When dawn came, he was already wakened up. He slept for some 5 or 6 hours at most, and so he was tired, but that was not new anyway. His nights had been shit for 15 years. He glanced at Nella once more and she was still sleeping peacefully. "I did the right thing for once." As he predicted, people had found the body, but none could know who did it. Artois had done the deed without making any noise, and there was no one but Nella around then, and even if she were to somehow tell about to someone, it mattered not, for he was not returning to this inn. He walked all the way to the harbour of Myr and climbed the ropes into the Shimade. Once inside, he saluted Yandri and Ysilla, Haldan the half-maester, Rolly and young Griff as his cover name went. And then there was Griff. "You took your time, Artois," he said. "We could have left a while ago." "I had to sleep something." Artois dismissed. "Those who saw you and those who see you now," Griff commented with a weak smile. "You are even worse than me." "I failed thrice, no, I failed 4 times by now," Artois confessed. "How did you expect me to be?" "You mean Princess Daenerys Targaryen?" Griff asked, already knowing the answer. "That has been bothering me too. Varys and Illyrio are making moves and we don't know what purpose they have. I will demand some explanations from that fat fuck once I see him," Artois proclaimed. "I'm tired of this. The girl and her brother need help and I'm tired of doing nothing for them." "We will have to demand some explanations from him indeed," Griff admitted as he clapped Artois' shoulder. "We can't be pawns forever, nor will we." "Nor will we indeed," he agreed, sighing. He spared a glance at the sea and he began remembering those times back at dawn where he, his sister, Elia, and Oberyn watched the seas and talked of their dreams. "I failed you, Elia, I failed Queen Rolla, I failed Lyanna Stark, and now I failed Rhaegar's siblings. I'm nothing but a disgraced knight, I'm nothing but a drunkard now, a shameful excuse of a knight. The sword of the morning is dead." Notes. Some more mysteries or not? I don't think the Mirish coins had a name, so I called them barges because of ship engraved in it and because it sounded cool to me. So here are the results until now. The voting ends next Tuesday once I publish the chapter. Just some clarifications. The numbers between the parentheses are the max they could get with votes received, but they don't fully count because these were made by people who voted on more than a character. So, for example, Margary has 6 votes validated and 2 potential more from people who voted on more than one character. The asterisk means that the character still can make it round 2 depending on the votes. I must beg forgiveness for the bad formatting. If there is any doubt, please do tell me. These are the votes received from both sides. Winifred Mandaily 4 votes asterisk. Alice Karstark 3, 4 votes asterisk. Grid 2 votes. Mira Reed 1, 3 votes. Wyler Mandaily 2 votes. Umber daughter of Great Yon 0 votes. A Mormont daughter of Mage 2, 3 votes. Cassina Baratheon 4, 6 votes, 3rd. Val 16 votes, 1st. Margary Tyrell 6, 8 votes, 2nd. Myrcella Baratheon 0, 2 votes. Now I must say I was quite surprised by these results. Val dominated and I wasn't expecting it at all, nor was I expecting the Northern ladies to be so low. I was expecting Winifred and Alice to win, so yeah, I'm not sure if I will do a second round at all since Val clearly dominated and perhaps will even get a few more votes before Tuesday. So yeah, as always, thank you for sparing time reading and I hope everyone has a nice day. Chapter 7, True Colors. Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Lyanna Starkeye. Near the crossroads in Riverlands, year 298 AC. Where is father? Lyanna asked her mother, who was breaking her fast with her, Lyra, Ros, and Bran. The king sent for him once more. Another hunt, mother confessed, sighing. She was not happy with the king stealing father at every hour. Surely she missed the life at Winterfell already. Lyanna felt quite the same. To be honest, there is nothing like home. She fed a piece of bacon to Star and noticed Bran doing the same to Rune and Ros helping Lyra doing the same with Blackie. The prince said he wished to have a stroll with me today. Lyanna confessed. You must go, Lyanna. Jane said, beaming. It's a big chance to see what he really is. Her mother cut in with a plain look. Jane, it is good that you feel excited about a pretty face, but I thought me and Ros instructed you better. My lady, Jane flushed in shame. My apologies. It's okay, darling. Mother said with a warm smile. I gave you all those lessons because I felt in my own skin what being innocent and naive does to a woman, and that was something I did not wish my daughters or their friends to feel. Her mother explained. The betrothal is not made, Lyanna. If you deem Prince Joffrey unworthy, you will tell me, okay? Lyanna saw the looks she dreamt of in a prince in Joffrey, but she did not really know him yet. She did not know what to think. She felt attracted to him, but that time in Winterfell's courtyard, she did not like the way he made her twin brother angry. Sure, Arthur was annoying at times, well, often, but she loved her brother so very much, just as she loved Jon, Arya, Bran, and Lyra. Father always told them that a pack stays together, and she fights for her pack too. You need not to worry, mother, I will have my eyes and ears open. Her mother smiled. I know you will, love. Lyanna went outside with Star and Jane to catch some fresh air. The men were dismantling the tents and pavilions in anticipation for another day's march. The day looks beautiful, Jane, she said to her friend. Don't you agree? Indeed. Jane agreed, but her friend seemed disappointed. What is troubling you? Lyanna asked with concern in her mind. What your mother told us. We are still young, Jane. We are bound to make mistakes and do foolish things, Lyanna said with what she hoped was a copy of mother's warm smile. But as my mother and father told me, we ought to learn from them. Now don't feel sad, my friend, and learn from your mistakes so you can become a better person. Yes, thank you, Lyanna. Jane nodded with a shy smile, but a better expression than what she had before. I will do my best. I know so. It was then they noticed a huge commotion around the Queen's wheelhouse. 2 knights in well-made armor that Lyanna never saw before were there waving at the crowd. Who are they? Lyanna asked, knowing fully well that Jane did not know the answer either. I don't know, her friend replied, the answer she was expecting. Those are Sir Barristan Selmy and the king's youngest brother Renly Baratheon. It had been her mother who spoke behind them, startling the two friends, but the laugh that followed soothed them somehow. My two beautiful girls. Her mother whispered, amused, in their ears while wrapping her arms around them. Shall we go meet them? Sir Barristan the Bold himself. Jane sounded amazed with the prospect. Oh please my lady, I want to meet him. Then let us do so, her mother said while leading them closer to the knights. Even Bran was excited, leaving his many books behind, while Lyra was on Ro's arms with a look of anticipation. Meeting Sir Barristan was like a dream come true for Lyanna as well, for she had heard of the old knight's many feats, like slaying Maelys the Monstrous or saving the Mad King from the late Lord Darklyn. He was one of their heroes. Everyone cleared out of their path after seeing 3 direwolves of a dog's size get close. Sir Barristan and Lord Renly unsheathed their swords when their glances befell on the animals, and she grew afraid they might strike them. Please Sir Barristan, Lord Renly, do not feel frightened by them, her mother spoke. They are good animals and will not harm any of you. Though Lord Renly was still wary of the direwolves, he spared them a confident smile. Sir Barristan however seemed completely caught by surprise, almost as if he had seen a ghost. My Lady Ashura, the old knight stuttered. I see you still remember this Dornish woman, good sir, mother said with a smile. I do, the knight replied. It was hard not to remember, my lady. May I introduce you to my daughters? These are Lyanna and Lyra, my son Brandon, and our companions Ros and Jane. Mother pointed to each one. There is also my daughter Arya somewhere nearby, but that one is a little troublemaker and I'm afraid you will meet her later. A pleasure, sir, they all said in unison. The pleasure is mine. The knight smiled a weak smile. He was really shaken for some reason. I see the tales of Lady Ashura Stark and her children's beauty are quite true, Lord Renly said with a smirk. A pleasure to meet you all, and the wolves, I guess. They politely retorted, the courtesy as expected of them. Then Lyanna saw the Queen making a gesture to the prince, who came to them with an easy smile. Uncle, my mother wishes to have a word with you and Sir Barristan. Why, of course, we can't leave the Queen waiting, can we? Lord Renly seemed to never lose his smirk. With my lady's and my lord's license. Their polite bow was followed by a speech from the prince. My Lady Lyanna, I made you a request a few days ago when we last spoke. Would you join me for a stroll? No doubt he looks so gallant, but... Of course my prince, it will be an honor. And with that said, she and the prince left to begin their walk. What would you say about riding? Oh, I do love riding, she admitted, though her horse Smiling Star remained at Winterfell and she missed him dearly. Joffrey glanced back at Star, who was following them ever attentive. Your wolf is liable to frighten the horses, and my dog likely frightens you too. How could he call his sworn shield a dog? He did frighten her, but he was a person, not a dog. Let us leave them both behind and set off on our own, what do you say? Lyanna hesitated. Star was like a sworn shield of hers, and leaving her behind was not something she wished. I suppose I could tie her up, she said unsure. But is it wise to leave your sworn shield behind? The prince did not look pleased with her question. Have no fear, my lady, he proclaimed. I am almost a man grown and I don't fight with wood, like your brothers. All I need is this. Joffrey drew his sword and showed it to her, a long sword with a leather grip and lion's head to serve as the pommel, made of gold of course. Well, the sword looks good and definitely well made. I should hide the fact that my brothers all fight with live steel already and were just holding off. I certainly don't wish to provoke bickering. Lyanna decided to fake an expression of amazement. I'm certainly surprised, my prince. The prince looked pleased with her reaction and comment. I call it Lion's Tooth. A wonderful name. Joffrey brought her to where the horses were, providing her with beige-colored mare, and so they went on their own. She felt bad for leaving Star behind and certainly did not feel safe, but played along, hoping the prince was as good a warrior like his father and uncle. The prince rode his courser with haste and recklessness, and she faked being bad at riding so to not destroy his confidence or pride. She began feeling hungry and was not happy with the distance they had taken from the camp. I'm quite hungry, my prince, shall we return? She asked. Wait a while longer, Joffrey said. The battleground is right there. There, he said with pride. That was where my father killed Rhaegar Targaryen. He smashed his chest, right through the armor with his warhammer. Joffrey said while he swung an imaginary warhammer. Then my uncle Jaime killed the Mad King, making my father the new king. My father told me so quite often, my Prince Lyanna said smiling. I'm quite sure your sire looked majestic in that day. Indeed. Joffrey nodded as they began hearing the sound wood clattering. Wait, what's that sound? I don't know, she confessed, worried, hoping it was nothing bad. But we should really go back. I want to see what it is. Joffrey turned his horse towards the sound and Lyanna was forced to follow him. The noise grew louder and now she could hear someone panting. She wished that Star was next to her in case it was something they should not see. You are safe with me. Joffrey drew Lion's tooth from its sheath. This way, he said as he rode into the trees. They found themselves in a clearing overlooking the river. There were a boy and a girl practicing with wooden sticks, Arya. She had lost her sword in bad judged movement and the prince laughed with the situation, startling her sister and what now she saw as the butcher's boy whom she had befriended. Arya, she called out worried. Lyanna. Her sister asked. What are you doing here? Joffrey glanced from Arya to Lyanna and back again. Your sister? Yes. Lyanna replied, and for some reason, she was feeling foreboding. And who are you, boy? Joffrey asked in a commanding tone. Mycah, the boy muttered, recognizing the prince and averting his eyes to the ground. My prince. He is the butcher's boy, Lyanna explained. And a playmate of my sister. He is my friend. Arya corrected her in a sharp tone and Lyanna began cursing herself, for Arya was making it worse for them. She didn't like this one bit. A butcher's boy who wants to be a knight, is it? Joffrey swung down from his mount with Lion's tooth at hand. Pick up your sword, butcher's boy, he commanded with some vile amusement. Let us see how good you are. Mycah stood there, frozen with fear. My prince, leave him be and let us return and enjoy a meal. Lyanna begged with a fake smile. Quiet. The prince hissed at her before returning his glance to Mycah. Go on, pick it up. Or do you only fight little girls? She asked me to, my prince, Mycah murmured. She asked me to. Both she and her sister were getting frightened by the scene. Are you going to pick up your sword or not? Mycah shook his head. It's only a stick, my prince, it's no sword, only a stick. And you are but a butcher's boy. You are not a knight. Joffrey lifted Lion's tooth and laid its point on Mycah's cheek below the eye, the boy trembling. That was my lady's sister you were hitting, do you know that? Stop it. Arya screamed as she grabbed up her fallen stick. Not good at all, I have to do something. Leave him be, my prince, she pleaded. He did no harm to my sister. I won't hurt him, much, the prince said, amused with what he was doing, never taking his eyes off the butcher's boy. Arya went for him, of course, as she feared. Lyanna slid off the mare, but to no avail. Arya had already cracked the wood in the prince's head, making him whirl around and roaring curses. Mycah ran away and Arya tried to do her deed once more, but he caught the blow with his own sword, stealing Arya's stick from her and sending it flying away. The back of his head was covered in blood and his eyes were on fire. She feared for her sister's life. Stop it, she cried out, but no one was listening. She wished she had paid attention to what father and her brothers tried to teach her regarding swords. Stop it, she screamed in agony, feeling helpless to save her sister who the prince was swinging his sword at while cursing. Stop. Joffrey had a fright and Arya pressed against a tree. That was when Nymeria came from nowhere, bit the prince's arm, disarming him and throwing him to the floor. They rolled in the grass with her sister's wolf trying to bite his neck while the prince shrieked in pain. Get it off, he screamed. Get it off. Nymeria. Arya called and her direwolf let go of Joffrey, who lay in the grass sobbing, all covered in blood. She didn't hurt you much, she proclaimed while picking Lion's tooth and pointing it at Joffrey. No. Joffrey whimpered. Don't hurt me. I will tell my mother. Arya, Lyanna said in a broken voice. Leave him be. Arya looked towards her with frightened eyes and then she threw the sword into the river with all her might. Her sister then ran off to her horse and disappeared with Nymeria following her close by. After they were all gone, Lyanna went to the prince. His eyes were closed in pain. I will go fetch someone, she said, frightened with the consequences of her sister's actions. His eyes opened and they were vile and crude. Then go, he spat out. Get out of here. Once Eliana arrived at the camp, she sent some of the king's house guard to fetch the prince while she ran to find her mother. She found them inside their tent and Arya, she screamed while she ran towards her sister and embraced her in a hug. I'm so sorry sister, Eliana, her sister was weeping as well. It's all right girls, everything is all right, I will fix this somehow, their mother said with a worried expression. Ros, tell Jory to send the butcher's boy away with his family, back north as fast as possible, and have them ready to send the direwolves away too. Mother, both sisters remarked upon hearing their mother's plan. Oh my loves, I have no doubt the queen will seek revenge. You two are harder to kill, but the boy and the wolves, they don't have the same protection as you. I will go warn Jory, Ros said as she moved to the tent's exit. I will tell him to dispatch someone to bring Lord Eddard and the king back as well. Yes, do that. Mother nodded before Ros left completely. Now you two will come with me and we shall wait for your father to arrive. The situation didn't look good on their part. The many people that went with them were encircling their tent. Mother had placed the remaining guards outside just in case. Finally, after a long while, father came riding hard on his charger brooding the third, rearing the horse and jumping with haste as he entered their tent. Ashura. What happened? The prince, mother began. He was hurting Arya's friend when he and Eliana got there, and then Arya defended the boy, hitting him with a stick on the head which the prince did not like, and so he tried to kill our girl with his steel sword. Nymeria bit him off. He is alive but seeking revenge. Gods be damned, father sighed. Come here girls. They went for their father's embrace and enjoyed his embrace. This is going to be a big mess with the queen. Mother said. I have no doubt she will seek revenge. I have sent the boy and his family back north with the direwolves. You did well. Father agreed. I might be able to convince Robert against any major punishments. We should approach him now before the queen can fill him with lies. Mother said. You are right, he nodded. Ros, keep them safe and close, they will need to give their testimony, so make sure they are calm and ready. Of course, my lord. Father gently left them on Ros' arms. Let's go. The king was by the queen's wheelhouse. Joffrey was there wrapped around his mother's arms, a mother whose eyes got narrowed as soon as Eliana's family approached. How dare your daughter do this, my son Lord Stark? The queen hissed at her father. Attacking him with that butcher's boy and that vile creature of hers, trying to tear my son's arm off. That's not true. Arya shouted back, losing her composure. She was too wild to follow what mother told them to do so many times. He was hurting Micah. They all attacked me and then she threw Lion's Tooth in the river. The prince insisted while not looking at them. Liar. Arya yelled. Shut up, he yelled back. Enough. The king roared so loud it could have deafened her ears. No one spoke after that. Now I wish to hear your daughter's version, Ned. The king said with a softer tone. Tell me everything and tell me the truth, girl. Arya stepped forward and told what happened, still shaken. Once she told how she threw Joffrey's sword. The king looked towards Joffrey with aghast eyes. You let that little girl disarm you, he asked, and the king's brother Renly broke into laughter uncontrollably, making all eyes shift to him. Sir Barristan, escort my brother to his tent before he chokes on his own laughter. The king spoke in a defeated voice, his hand rubbing his head. My brother is too kind, but I can find the door myself, the Lord said while trying to contain his laugh as he left. Lion's Tooth, 7 hells, and the laughter followed the Lord Paramount of the Stormlands as he disappeared. Joffrey's version came next, true until he began speaking of their encounter with Arya, at which point it became a big lie. What in 7 hells am I supposed to make of this? Both say different things. They were not the only ones present, father said as he glanced her. Eliana was present as well. Tell us what happened. Eliana stepped forward hesitantly. She didn't know what to say. If she was to say the truth, her family could be in danger, but if she lied she would betray her family, betray her sister who could have been killed. She would disappoint her family. She inhaled some air and let it out. My sister speaks the truth, she said. The prince looked abashed as all the looks went to him, but the queen's anger was visible. Of course she would say such a thing. They are sisters and our Joffrey is at disadvantage. Quiet, woman. The king roared. It's his bloody fault he picked a fight when he can hardly win one, and to a little girl nonetheless. What sort of message does this send? That the king's son is a fool. The queen was now fuming. Joffrey will carry those scars and words for the rest of his life, she spat. I want the girl punished. Ned, see that your daughter is disciplined and I shall do the same to my son. The king proclaimed. Gladly, your grace. Father bowed to his friend. And what of the direwolf? The queen asked. What of the beast that savaged our son? It was defending her owner. The king dismissed. Ned, send them beasts back home, I forbid them from entering the capital. I want no more problems with them. This is, the queen began. I will hear no more of this. King Robert shouted as he moved away from the queen. The king's justice has been served, now we return to King's Landing, as this bloody ride is giving me far too many problems. The queen looked as if she was to tear them all to pieces, but returned to the wheelhouse with her children. People began to disperse and Lyanna returned to her family's side. Did I do right? She questioned her parents, afraid of failing them. Her mother brought her closer. You were in a very bad position, love. I would struggle deeply if I were in your shoes, and so would Ros and your father. There would be dire consequences no matter the choice you made, but I think given the circumstances you chose well. Lyanna's spirit warmed up a little. Thank you, mother, but the queen and Joffrey will be resentful. They will. Mother agreed. But now we have a valid reason to say no to the king's offer, that is if. I do not wish to marry him, she cut in, making her parents smile. He almost killed Arya, though she and I are not the best sisters, she is my sister and I love her so. Arya stepped forward and hugged Lyanna, and she immediately felt better for what she did. She just hoped the consequences would not be too harsh on their family. Now that we have been shown a bit of the capital will be as it seems, father began. Let us get ready to leave. And know that I will be here for you for whatever you need me. And if Robert wishes to have another hunt? Mother asked with a raised eyebrow. Let him go alone. Father plainly stated. I'm tired of hunting, and he said he wanted to reach the capital with haste, so. Cassina Baratheon 3. The Narrow Sea, year 298 AC. They had been sailing for 2 days already, and another 2 at most were needed for them to arrive at the capital. Cassina loved her mother truly, but she was thankful for her being away visiting Aunt Lysa at the Eyrie, as it gave Cass more freedom. Her father rarely left his study, and Septa Mordane was rather easy to trick and would be occupied with Shireen's lessons since her sweet sister was younger than Cass and needed more lessons. Let's just hope your father doesn't send his entire fleet after you, Gian said as he stood next to her. That would cause an unnecessary scene. You worry too much, she told him. I think that by now you know my father pretty well to know he will not do such a thing. I know he will chastise you pretty well when you return, Gian said. And you deserve it. The deed is being done already. There is no turning back now, nor would I turn back, she dismissed. And do not worry, for I will make sure you are absolved of any guilt. I will be able to sleep well at night then. She sighed at her friend's nonsense. Sometimes you are boring. Then I must thank you for being so benevolent with me, for most people say I'm always boring. This made her look at him with a raised eyebrow. What? Does a disinherited, quiet and plain-looking son of a deceased loyalist man sound appealing to you? I see no problem in it, she confessed. You are a man like everyone else, I care not for those small details. Many people do see a problem with it though. Her mother was one of them. I'm not one of them, she insisted. You are my boring friend and like you. The feeling is mutual, he replied. Are you calling me boring? She questioned in a tease. I was not, I was saying I like you as a friend too. Then why don't you open up with me more often? She asked. We know each other for almost 2 years, and yet I know almost nothing of you while you know so much about me. I have nothing to tell you that is not boring. She scoffed. Sometimes he had such sharp remarks. Gian, stop being stupid, I don't like it. And stop using my own words against me. Fine, it didn't look like he would open to her the easy way, so she had to go around. Do you have any friends besides me? That question seemed to have hit him in some sort of weak spot, for he seemed to be gaping for air. He was a quiet person by nature, but this was not normal. It made her feel uncomfortable. Perhaps she overstepped her boundaries. "A couple of them at Driftmark," he finally whispered in a murmur. "Some boys of my age. There was a girl too." His voice was cracking as he spoke. "Once." "What happened to her?" she asked with curiosity and a slight inch of fear. "It matters not what happened to her. We are going to King's Landing and you have other things to get your head concerned with." "Here we go again," she hissed bitterly. "How can you say we are friends if you don't open to me as I do to you? It's not fair." "Life is not fair, Cassandra," he said. "If it was fair then the world would be inhabited by good people only, but it seems that good people die early and the bad live the longest. And no to mention that the latter are far more common." She couldn't disagree with him. He was right. Life was not fair, but why couldn't he tell her something about him? In truth, she had no friends besides some servants she befriended over the years. Mother and Septa Mordain always forced her to avoid befriending servants, for she was a lady, but who else would she befriend? There were no lords at Dragonstone, and even though she visited King's Landing and Storm's End a few times, the lords' sons and daughters there were also different from her. The girls cared nothing but for gossip, and she hated when people whispered horrible things at people's backs, and the boys cared for nothing but feasting and showing each other who was the manliest of them all. She always wondered what was the point of that nonsense, but she never could find an answer. When Gian came to Dragonstone to help her practice, she was intrigued. He cared not if he was manly enough, nor did he care for feasts or gossip. He was someone in her line of thought, and once she made the effort to befriend him, she quite enjoyed his company despite her mother's disapproval of him. But for once Cassandra had found a friend who also hides things from me. She sighed and glanced the gentle waters of the narrow sea. "I guess I can tell you why they call me the Sea Dragon," he said, making her turn to him open-mouthed. "You will. It's not unknown anyway." His face was still turned to the sea. "During my grandfather's rule, Driftmark's city guard was small and inefficient. The ruins of Spicetown became a smuggler's den," he explained. "The smugglers paid huge quantities of money to my grandfather, who profited more with this arrangement than with the taxes he received from the small folk due to Driftmark's prime location in the trade routes that lead to King's Landing and Duskendale." "What?" she questioned open-mouthed. "Why didn't someone do something about it?" "Because smugglers don't usually attack ships," he replied. "Pirates and corsairs do. Pirates who came one day, 2 years ago, a monster led them. They sacked Hull and committed a huge massacre. Hundreds of people were killed and raped by them, and my home was pillaged." "Gods." "My grandfather, who was weak and dying, refused to do anything. My uncle and my half-uncle did nothing either, as our people died, butchered, raped, women and children. I couldn't handle it, so I took revenge with my own hands. I had the sword my late master gave me before he passed away, just as his knowledge. I donned my father's armor and brought the bow with me. I lured them all to a place I chose and I shot them all. When I had no more arrows, I unsheathed this sword at my back and slew the rest with the revolted people of Driftmark who joined me. But it was too late. However, most of the pirates had long embarked on their ships and were on the horizon when I came close to the sea." Gian said. She could see the tension in him. "The people who fought with me called me the Sea Dragon afterward." Cass was at the loss of words. "I see," she managed to say, but she was so surprised. She never thought Gian could do this, but then again she never saw him angry before. They must have provoked him dearly for him to lose his control. "What happened next?" "My grandfather wanted to send me to the wall for the butchery I did, hoping to avoid repercussions by the pirates. But the small folk of Hull, upon hearing about it, revolted, and he did not have enough soldiers to stop the riot, nor did he have the assurances that he had their loyalty, and so he called for your father to pass his judgment." Gian smiled a bitter smile, taking the blame off his shoulders. "The people were shouting Sea Dragon on the streets, and my grandfather feared I would try to oust him from power, but I never wanted to do that." "And what did my father do?" she asked curiously. She had some ideas since Gian ended up next to her, but still. "Your father forced the island garrison to increase to 1,000 men and kicked the smugglers out of Spicetown, forbidding them from coming again, at the expense of exerting fines upon my now deceased grandfather, and then he brought me along to be part of Dragonstone's own garrison instead of the wall, and somehow I ended up helping you practice, because you somehow took an interest in me. I always thought he brought you so I could have people around my age to practice with," she confessed speechlessly. "Why did he keep this away from me?" Because it's a boring tale. Do be stupid, she hit him in the shoulders. This was anything but boring. I'm deeply sorry for your people, they deserved none of what happened, really. For some reason, she thought there was still something left unsaid about that horrible day he suffered, but this was a lot already. Jian, I thank you for opening to me, it means a lot. I didn't wish to see you cry, he said. I wasn't going to cry, she dismissed. Though she had to admit she was close. Then I wasn't staring at the priestess's breasts. You were. I saw it, she insisted. Jian. Then you were going to cry because I saw it, he countered. Gods, you are the worst, she hissed as she slapped his shoulder once more. You are a pest sometimes. Notes. So the first round ended. Winifred Mondaly 7, 3rd. Alice Karstark 2. Grid 2. Mira Reed 1. Wyler Mondaly 1. A Umber daughter of Great Yon 0. A Mormont daughter of Mage 2. Cassina Baratheon 4. Val 21, 1st. Margaery Tyrell 19, 2nd. Myrcella Baratheon 0. I must say that I was caught off guard once more with Margaery's voting rising from Friday to Tuesday. It was a massive one, even if I saw some irregular votes that I had to discredit not only for her but the others as well. So now I'm at an impasse. Should I declare Val the winner and avoid the second round, or should I do the second round but with people voting on their order of preference? X. First Winifred, second Val, third Margaery, which would be converted in votes according to the position, with the first getting 3 points, the second 2 and the last 1. X. First Winifred 3 points, second Val 2 points and third Margaery with 1. I'm down for either one of 3. My order of preference was the order in which the options were organized, so whoever wins, wins. With this said, I hope to hear some thoughts until Friday. Thank you for everyone who voted and spared some time reading it. I hope everyone has a nice day. Chapter 8, Plots and More Plots. Notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. Chapter text. Artos Dawnbright 2. Pentos, Free Cities, year 298 AC. Aegon and Rolly decided to stroll in Pentos streets and enjoy their stay at this mighty city, but Artos and Griff had other things to do. They needed a talk with Illyrio in order to get some much-needed explanations on what was happening. As they arrived at the main gate, they were identified by the Unsullied guarding it and were escorted inside to meet the Pentoshi. It seemed the man was in his huge study room, a room full of books from the most varied locations and with a chair with comfortable cushions in which the fat man was reading some book written in Valyrian, if Arto's eyes saw right. As the man glanced them, he stood up and with a smile as he greeted them. My friends, how was the voyage from Myr? Neither he nor Griff replied to his question, but that didn't seem to bother him at all. I see that you are both rather shy today. Why was Daenerys Targaryen sent to be wed to Dothrakikal? Artos questioned. Do you realize how dangerous that is? Khal Drogo has the largest khalasar, 40,000 strong, Illyrio said. He is a strong and fierce warrior and Daenerys is in no danger. That still doesn't calm my mind. The girl is what, 13 and already wed? Artos countered. We will need Khal Drogo's khalasar for what is to come. The man insisted. And what is exactly is coming? Griff asked. Isn't it obvious? The fat man replied almost as if he had taken offense with Griff's question. To place Aegon on the throne, of course. After all, isn't he Prince Rhaegar's heir? No, he is the bastard son of Rhaegar, born of the foolishness when his parents found themselves drunk. That wasn't what we agreed. Artos said. We were supposed to keep him safe from Robert Baratheon's clutches, not make him go to war with them. We have done that, sir, and we shall continue to do so. The fat man assured. Once he gets the throne, there will not be a need for him to be running for his life anymore. But Aegon has no claim now that House Targaryen was dethroned, said Artos. No more than Robert Baratheon did before he took the throne. The fat man dismissed. He won the throne by conquest. The Maestas of Westeros, being a pesky bunch, had to find a way to legitimize his conquest, and so they found his Targaryen grandmother, who, if I'm not mistaken, had no claim for the throne in the first place, as she was a female, he continued. Anyone could have gotten the throne if they so desired, and once the precedent is set, then the consequences will follow. Robert Baratheon's reign is stable. Artos countered. He has the Stormlands, Riverlands, North, Vale, and Westerlands behind his back, and neither the Reach nor Dawn will contest that. Those who wait for the right opportunity will be rewarded, sir, he said with a sly smile. Just because things are well doesn't mean they will always be that way. Varys tells me the heir to the throne is a mad king in the making. Griff laughed then. So the great Robert Baratheon has spilled a mad king from his seed, how ironic. If this was true, then it would be bad for the realm. Another mad king would lead to another rebellion sooner or later, but still. Is it? The fat man questioned with a rather serious look which was not normal. At any rate, the boy could use a couple of years more of training to be fully ready for his task, and this shall give us enough time to have Khal Drogo and the Golden Company on our side. Artos did not like this one bit. He, Ned Stark, and his companions promised Lyanna that they would take care of her son, keep him safe and grant him a childhood, for he had no blame in anything, and now Varys and Illyrio wanted to use the boy for some personal scheme of theirs. Aegon is Rhaegar's heir, and so he has a claim in accordance with the Targaryen customs. No, he doesn't, he is a bastard. Artos wanted to say to Griff but did not spill a single word. And if the usurper's son is a mad king in the making, then all the better. Aegon will be ages away from any son that oaf could produce. We share the same opinion, good sir. Illyrio grinned. But do let me have a talk with Sir Artos here. Griff looked towards him and then nodded before exiting the room, leaving the two of them there to have a talk. The boy has no claim, Artos said when they were alone. He is a bastard. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't some of Westeros houses support the Black Fires? A line of bastards. A line of legitimized bastards. Artos countered. Born and raised at court. My friend, there will be some interesting developments coming soon. That much I can assure you, and you will be surprised with them. Illyrio said. But as we were speaking, no one needs to know about Aegon's bastard status. They will think he is Princess Elya's child and not Lyanna's. But it's an offense against Elya's memory, he countered. I grieve the woman too, Sir Arthur. No one deserves such a brutal and horrible death, Illyrio said. Varys still has nightmares about what he saw, but she should be proud that her legacy can be extended to save Westeros. Varys could have done something and saved her. He still considers it his biggest mistake in life. The fat man said. But I doubt it made you feel any better. It does not, it only makes me angrier. Artos assured him. As I said, Sir Arthur, you do not need to worry. The boy will be safe, just as the Queen Rhaella's children, and with them the realm, who will not suffer from another mad king. Illyrio proclaimed. You know he will make a great king. He has Rhaegar's greatest capabilities and none of his flaws. He is the perfect prince. And what will happen to Daenerys Targaryen in your plans? Said Artos. She will play her part, just as her brother, he informed. As I said, they will be safe. I will keep the vows I swore to Lyanna Stark and Eddard Stark, but I have serious doubts this plan of yours and Varys will succeed. Your presence is always welcome, good sir, Illyrio said with a big grin. You have been a great influence on Aegon, and worry not, because we will prove you wrong. I would like to see that. I must return to our ship. The boy and the crew should be waiting for us. Of course, it was a pleasure seeing you again. Artos nodded and exited Illyrio's study and found Griff waiting outside, arms crossed with his back against a wall. They began to walk out of the manse right after. Why were you so pessimistic? Griff inquired. Aegon is Rhaegar's heir. You should be happy he has a chance of claiming his father's throne. I have my reasons. Are you afraid for your sister? Griff suggested in a question. Lord Stark revolted justly against King Aerys, I will not deny it. His brother and father were unjustly killed, and Aegon can show clemency if he bends the knee to him. That's not the matter, Jon. Artos barked, losing his composure. Then what is the matter? Just forget about it. Artos dismissed. Let's just go and meet Aegon. You should open yourself more, Arthur, Griff said. It didn't do good to Rhaegar to keep his thoughts for himself, even if shared more with you than me. It got him killed sooner than what it should be. I know. Artos agreed. But what will you think when you know the truth about this boy and of your prince? Gods, what should I do? Cersei Lannister too. Somewhere by the King's Road, Crown Lands, year 298 AC. Please, mother, let me go see them. Her daughter was asking to go meet those barbarians once more now that they took a stop already in the Crown Lands. She was growing defiantly as the days went by, they were turning her daughter into a rebellious girl. No, you are staying here with me, Tommen and Joffrey. Cersei dismissed her daughter's plea. And you will not see the Starks anymore. Why? Myrcella questioned aghast. Because they have hurt your brother and can very well hurt you too. Cersei said. But they have not harmed me in any way, they have treated me with kindness. Myrcella insisted. I like their company and their direwolves aren't with them anymore. The damned Dornish whore was smart and got the direwolves and the damned peasant boy away from her justice, and she was angry for this audacity. You will not go, and that is the end of it. Cersei hissed. But mother. Her daughter protested more. Play with Tommen, he is your brother, and speak no more of it. Cersei was not liking the current situation of things. The Starks were